cooperation. Congress would do it, and the country would be all in. They'd ramp up for the war effort. They'd use everything in their power. They'd demolish the other side, and they'd come home. But can you do that in a nuclear age? The reason the Korean War is germane to this story is because, well, here's the way historian John Muscatus explains it, quote,
I call it holiday hot dog hysteria.
the outbreak of fighting in 1950 provided the first hard evidence.
Yeah,
The Korean War demonstrated how it would be to use atomic bombs, even in the most desperate military circumstances. From this perspective, they proved to be irrelevant to the outcome of that conflict. But from another perspective, they were of critical importance, for Korea
Costco would
determined
be
how
super
hot
huge
wars during the
in
Cold
Judaism. It
War
already
were to be
was.
fought.
If it's
The
not,
rule quickly became that neither the United States nor the Soviet Union would confront the other directly or use all
free or wholesale, we don't want
force. Each would
yeah.
seek instead
Sucker.
to
If anything I
confine
learned
such
about Judaism,
confrontation
sucker paid
within
full
the
time.
theaters in
Very
which they
easy.
had originated. This pattern of tacit cooperation amongst bitter antagonists could hardly have emerged had it not been for the existence on both sides of nuclear weapons. End quote. In order to give them some plausible deniability and basically say, we're not at war with the United States, you don't have a Chinese-American war going on. Mao and the Chinese labeled their hundreds of thousands of Chinese army troops volunteers. As though you almost don't even know what's happening. Well, there's hundreds of thousands of our people in Korea fighting. Well, and eventually, when the Soviet Union, who kind of deliberately doesn't get involved, I mean, they kind of stay away from this instead. I mean, you got to be careful because the Soviet Union and China have signed a pact, a defense pact. So if it looks like China is attacked, automatically the United States is now at war with the Soviet Union too, which the Soviet Union doesn't want either. So they're not getting directly involved. They're staying as far away as they can, and when eventually, almost because they're shamed into it, they have to send pilots to help. They make the pilots, they paint the planes like they're Chinese.
Shout out to Brandon Varga. He was in our class,
Give them fake
and
names. They tell them if
he
they're captured, you say you're a
was
Russian living in China.
he's a nice
Don't
kid.
fly over
Good.
water 'cause
He and I
you
look
get-
a
the
lot
whole
alike
thing is in
to the point.
disguise. Now, it's not fooling.
There was one
any of
time,
the
and somebody did
countries.
this. I swear to God.
This is the
I'd say
social
Raphael or
media
fucking
will
Mossad or
say
something like
that this
they
is
took a
not the
picture
kind
of me,
war where we
of
need
my
to use
mouth,
nuclear weapons, although
or
the
no,
temptations
his
keep
mouth
coming. I mean,
and my
there'll be a
eyes.
point, for example,
And
when 11,000
that's what companies would do
soldiers,
sometimes.
most of them
What would they do?
American, in
They could do this.
sub-freezing
They would
temperatures,
take
were surrounded
a
around
random
the Chosin Reservoir.
yearbook
And there are people that
and
will go
cut
to President Truman and
a
say,
kid's mouth and a kid's face,
Mr. President,
his
we'd like
eyes,
to
and
use
put them
atomic
together
bombs.
and
We keep trying to remind
put them in
ourselves that
a
Truman was
magazine,
the first
and you
human
couldn't sue
being
them
to
over
ever
using your
have
likeness
that
because
question
they literally
put
just
to
combined
you.
two pictures.
Have
So
that
I couldn't
kind
be
of
like,
responsibility.
this is a
Try
picture
and
of me, because it was like, oh, it's close.
you can't fake understanding the ramifications.
So one
because
time
you've
I
already done
caught
it
this
twice.
happening. It's not like it happened all the time. It happened one time,
That's a
and I
heck of a
was
thing
in
to put on a human being. And Truman, as I said, didn't just
fourth
cry.
grade, I
When he got the job, he basically said,
and
I'm not a big
I
enough
was
man
walking
for it.
up
I'm
the
not a big enough
stairs,
man for it.
and
And
I
he's the first
said
man in human history
to the
have
third
this
grade
kind of
teacher,
responsibility.
who I knew
So
because I had been in that class, I said, hey, look at this.
it was in
Doesn't this
1952.
look like me? And she said, yeah, it does. But the mouth looks like Brandon. Like, you can even tell it's like Brandon Parker. So I'm like, yeah, doesn't it? It was weird. And that would be a picture. They combined two pictures. Like a random company. We never met these people. Took a random picture of me from a yearbook with glasses and his mouth and put it in a magazine, and I caught it. So I remember showing it to my mom, and she's like, well, I mean, they do look, and it was exactly my eyes, and now I realize using,
Donovan's article.
like, I know more about graphic design, certainly I did that. I know more about Photoshop and photography and things. What do we call Photoshop? That's a program, but we call Photoshop just basically picture editing. It just has become the term, though it would really in the future be Corel Paint would be big. Really, yeah. Are you done? Corel would be really, really big. It's not now, but it used to be. When did Adobe
In northern
take
and
over?
western Europe, the old realms of
But
Charlemagne
really
and
started kicking
Napoleon,
into gear in
extraordinary military and political influence is
but
held
even
by a
before
Kansas man, Dwight David Eisenhower. In Korea, the bridge and battlefield of half a dozen Oriental imperialisms, the largest
Corel
Western
was
army
before
ever
Adobe,
launched on the Asiatic mainland,
and it's
is led by
dominant.
Matthew
What happened?
Richmond from Virginia. All of these officers are
companies
answerable, of course, he writes,
lost
to a native
market
of
share. It's about
Independence,
market
Missouri.
share.
If the president of the U.S. were ever tempted to think of himself as Emperor Harry I, there is no evidence that he has been. He could look about the world with considerable personal satisfaction. End quote. And yet several times in this war he will be asked to unleash the sort of hell that none of the people who ran those earlier empires could ever dream of being able to inflict. And it's noteworthy that he turns them down essentially every time. This is kind of a great, interesting psychological question to which there is no clear answer, but there are lots of speculations, as I said, as to why Truman doesn't drop this bomb. If it's going to help him out of this jam, and he's got a lot of political pressure at home, why doesn't he do it? Well, this becomes another place in history where it depends on who you believe. Now, as a fan of history, I simply read all of these different ones, and I try to pick the ones in my head which I think are the most logical and make the most sense.
To my friends, I'd be like, so are we on this? Yeah. And we'll learn Hebrew together. Do you know Hebrew? I've had years of classes, weird classes though. There weren't like any classes I've ever had before, where it was self-learning. And someone just listened to what I did, and basically, it was not teaching. I was never taught Hebrew, which is weird. I would go to class, but this is how you fucking learn this. But you don't teach it in the way you'd learn it in a shul. It's different in a shul in the way it would. Oh, it's fucking weird. Really, yeah, but I have a Hebrew teacher, a Hebrew tutor. He moved, but he's more observant than his fucking rabbi is in. And I would just say, his name is Ben Smith, Rabbi Ben Smith. He is a very nice man. His wife, Elena, very cool person. Makes a wonderful Shabbat. Her college becomes huge. It becomes Queen's University, and not because of fucking Jerry Seinfeld went there, but because Alana is how it's pronounced. Smith went there. And I remember I was like, she was telling me about herself, and she's like, well, Queens and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, Jerry Seinfeld went there. And she's like, oh, you know it? Yeah, fuck yeah, I know it. Yeah. Anyway, but it would be really because she went there. It becomes a big school, really.
Yeah. It's fascinating to think about that. And again, one is forced to confront our past and ask if this is how we would have behaved in earlier generations.
Smash and grab should be really big.
In the same circumstance.
Really?
Whether or not, this is indicative of some sort of evolution or growth. And if it is growth, is it ethical growth? Are these people becoming more ethical than the people of the past, or is it intellectual growth? Are we becoming intelligent enough to manage these unbelievably sophisticated
shrinks are big things?
I can't answer that, but I can say one thing for sure. It's on a collision course, and you don't have to be a genius to see that, with the principal way that the experts fight wars during this period. Remember, Truman is trying to adapt to this new atomic age. He's got generals in charge of forces fighting complicated wars on a nuclear booby-trapped geopolitical chessboard who were born in the 1800s. MacArthur does not want to worry about which chess pieces he wants to use on this nuclear booby-trapped chessboard or what squares he can and can't move to. He's used to having a free hand, and he and Truman clash over what he can do. Truman is creating something that will be known as limited war, whether he knows it or not during this time period. The general that he personally put in charge of all these forces, and they're not just American forces, there's Australians, there's Turks, there's Brits. I mean, it is a multinational UN force headed up by this guy Truman put into place, and a guy who has famously said, and will during this entire crisis in war, there is no substitute for victory. When I was a kid, it was widely thought that Douglas MacArthur wanted the power to use atomic weapons himself against his adversaries in Korea.
Homes and Gardens magazine becomes really big. Why? No fucking true. Christian Everett, I think.
they point out that he
Really?
didn't want to use nuclear weapons, but he did want
Yeah.
to be able to fight
Why?
the war in Korea.
I don't know. They had some kind of deal with that magazine company where it was like a type of way to sell real estate. And I used to see it all the time.
The
And
problem was, is if he did those things, he would cause
it was on the. I used to see it almost every day.
If you're Truman and you're playing this knife-edge dangerous game, it's way too much of a gamble. MacArthur didn't want any rules telling him what he couldn't do to fight a war and win. And when
What
he
the
said
fuck
this
are
in
you
those
doing?
public
Then
meetings, he
fucking
disagreed with the president's
dumbass.
policy to the media. He had to go. And, you know, once again, when you think about the bravery involved here with Truman, I'm not a Truman fan particularly.
Wait, what are you doing? This isn't how you do it.
His poll numbers were much lower than Douglas
That
MacArthur.
fucking takes
Douglas
forever to
MacArthur
do it that
was a
way, dude.
hero to a lot of people.
You
There were a lot
know.
of people that just plain didn't like Harry Truman.
Good list.
After he fires MacArthur comes home, and 500,000 people come out to give him a ticker tape parade. Most of the newspapers come out from MacArthur. I mean, if you're Harry Truman, you just made the biggest negative move of your entire presidency, and it took an amazing amount of guts, and you paid forever for it. Probably cost you another term. And it was the right decision. You can say in
That's
hindsight
gross,
because
Tom.
MacArthur had been allowed to do what he wanted. And a third world war had broken out. Imagine how different our history is today. I mean, all you have to do is look at what the plans were, right? Or the assumptions of what the plans were in some cases. Western military leaders assumed that the Red Army would simply
No, you piece of
launch
shit.
attacks across from their bases in Eastern Europe into Western Europe and roll all the way to the Atlantic. Think about the destruction that entails right there. U.S. plans involve the use of this most dangerous of all human weapons ever invented. No, not the nuclear bomb, because remember, that's a component in a weapons system. You still had to be able to deliver the bomb. This was the problem the Soviets had during this period. They may have had like 10, maybe 20 of these bombs. They didn't have an adequate delivery system. They had no strategic air force. They didn't have a way to bomb anybody yet. They were working on
Like
it.
to bring
But
text
it
nice
wasn't a real threat.
columns.
The real
Like
threat
that's
was that
my
the Red
kind of
Army
way to
would just
describe
run
it. Just make them nice. I don't fucking want anything. Oh, this is that one. This is a really great website.
Who had
OnlineTextStore.com. I love you.
different plans that they had on paper.
Really?
Variants of every plan. They had plans like shakedown
I'm
and
waiting
off
for
tackle
it.
and all these
Oh,
kinds of things.
wow.
But what these plans had in
Is
common
it good?
was a massive atomic
Yeah,
blitz.
it's really
Using
good.
about 2/3 of the atomic weapons in the stockpile right away, the same day,
Really?
actually,
Yeah, it's fucking
in
amazing.
most cases. And then keeping about 1/3 in reserve to go rebomb places that needed rebombing. During the period we're
Is it
talking
about
about
long form
here, it's
texting?
something like 200 bombs, maybe 300 bombs. Maybe on 20, 30, 40 Soviet cities, a bunch of these cities to be bombed multiple times. It's millions and millions of people, though, any way you look at it. And you wonder what the history books would look like today with the photos and accounts of the survivors.
I'm gonna
Let's
make
just
it work
say
their motherfucking asses off.
Russian cities.
I love how I get feedback every fucking day for as hard as I make these fuckers work.
World's first
I
atomic
keep firing on the people.
like Hiroshima or Nagasaki on steroids, I guess. And, I've often felt that, especially my own people, Americans, but maybe a lot of other people too, don't look carefully enough at what these weapons do. Because there are overtones that people tend to push away, because we're here in the United States, when you'll talk to people about the atomic bombs in Japan, there's a defensiveness that often comes up because they assume you're trying to heap some sort of guilt on them, and they will get defensive and point out the things the Japanese did or any of the other elements involved in what the conversation about atomic and nuclear bombs usually break down towards, and it keeps us from examining the most important part of the story, though. Not the past part that can't be changed, but the future part that needs to be understood when we are talking about doing things that might lead to the kind of outcomes we've only seen a couple of times before, and those outcomes are so important. I'm struck by the fact that even people who were living through them at the time and trying to survive realized that they were essentially guinea pigs of a new age and tried to write things down so we could benefit from it today. But in order to benefit, we have to look at it. History makes you look at things. There's a part of me that thinks there'd be something beneficial to walking a lot of people around the death camps after the Second World War where people were exterminated, just to remind them. History forces you to look at these things and realize that this isn't just some weird occurrence one time. This is what happens periodically. These are the stakes. Be aware of them and know what can happen. There was a diary kept by an amazing doctor at Hiroshima, a guy named Dr. Michihiko Hachiya. And in his diary, first of all, he's a survivor of the Hiroshima bomb. But then he goes on to the nearest hospital. He begins treating people. One of the things that's so terrible about these weapons is because they create an almost natural disaster. The first responders and the people that have to help all the damaged people are themselves victims, and their facilities are part of what's damaged. So you compound a difficult situation by killing all the doctors and nurses and destroying the hospitals at the same time. But in a move that just shows how sometimes, like in this case, it's scientists, but there are other peoples and professions also. In this case, this Japanese scientist realizes as soon as he's not having people literally dying at his feet, it's like 4 days later or something, tells the other doctors that we have to start writing stuff down. The data is going to be really important to people in the future because there hasn't been many people who live through this yet. In other words, this guy was already thinking beyond the war to posterity and knowing that actual data on live subjects in real world conditions will be rare and important for the future.
No, I don't
This diary, I found that amazing and heartwarming, but it doesn't help us if we don't use it. So you have to look at this stuff straight in the face and then say, when you're talking about nuclear war, you're talking about this, and you're not talking about it happening to some foreign people you don't know. You simply have to put the faces of your own friends and family on the victims and imagine that instead. Hiroshima survivor Asima Koshi was in the bathroom when the Hiroshima bomb went off. The bathroom collapsed around her. She finally got out with the help of someone else and found her sister dreadfully injured, mostly from the heat of these bombs. That's one thing they had that the regular conventional bombs didn't. There was almost a flash. Some people describe it like a bluish white, like a flashbulb flash, and it would burn you. Like the worst sunburn all the way to the bone you've ever seen. But funnily enough, it was so quick that if you had clothing on, especially light clothing, you could be perfectly protected under the clothing and your skin falling off everywhere else. This woman describes getting out of this bathroom after it collapsed around her. What happened next? And remember, this could be your wife or your mother or your sister or your daughter. Quote, looking around for my sister, I saw her lying sprawled in the corridor, the right side of her body covered with terrible burns. She had probably been washing her hands, with her right hand stretched over the wash basin when caught by the searing heat. I put my sister on my back and fled barefoot to Hajima Park. Her face was festering from her burns and her right eye was hanging out. I pushed the eye back into its socket and tried to use a gauze mask to hold it into place, but her ear had melted away and there was nothing to attach the mask to. Her mouth was twisted to the right and she could do no more than whimper for water, only the first syllable of the word emerging distinctly. On reaching Hijiyama Park, I laid my sister down on the ground and set off to search for my children. The fires were still burning fiercely. In a streetcar that had been burned bright red, surrounded by people already killed by the fire, I saw a woman still holding on to a strap and calling for help. The intense heat prevented me from approaching her, however. There was nothing I could do. To a man sitting on some stone steps, I said, "Come on, let's get away from here," and pulled him up by the hand. But as I did so, the skin came away from his hand, and he fell slowly to the ground. I could see his shadow imprinted clearly on the wall behind him where he had been sitting. Many people called out to me for help or water. Unburned because of having been in the lavatory, I could only bring my hands together and apologize to the people I passed as I searched for some sign of my children. As it turned out, none of those who left that morning ever came home again. Not my 5 children, my grandfather, my sister Michiko, or my cousin. Not a bone remained for me to find and treasure. Our house burned down so that I had not even a photograph to remember them by. My sister Hisako drew her last breath 4 days later on the evening of August 10th in agony from her massive injuries. I will never forget the expression on her face when I tried to give her a drop of water. I was alone. It's not meant to be a tearjerker. It's meant to be an example that you multiply by the number of people who are involved in these catastrophes if they happen.
Oh, yeah,
Think
exactly.
about what
Oh, this is
people are
great.
afraid
Good job.
of. Understand
This one.
that this
Remember when
is
you
a
did this?
science fiction
Kids, remember when you did this?
dystopian type of nightmare story until it comes true. And in this era, the possibility
Now you're going
of
to control
coming
delete it.
true
Oh,
at times
now you're going to
appears
fake it out?
be
Now you're going
about the same
I thought you were going to
shit.
control delete it.
You're gonna get a
Hey, Beck, I thought you were going to control delete it. Hey, I thought you were going to, I thought you were going to control delete it. Oh, now you got the big list back. Oh, God, you got the big list back. All right, hey, big kid. Hey, big kid. Hey. Not Kid Row. Not Kid Rowley's kid. That's Philly kid. Big kid. Big kid's from Toledo. Hey, big kid. Hey, you see, I heard what he said about Peoria. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it, kids. I heard what he said about Peoria. I didn't teach him that Peoria was within the city limits of the city. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Well, I'm off to Torrance, kids. Really? I'm going to try to get a ride to the oh, you can't get in the car. I think you're blading all over the place, kids. But you guys, would you like to come Tulsa, Tuscaloosa, Tallahassee, from the nasty Tallahassee? Hurry the fuck up.
A lot of people here that are making calculations about relative disasters. We'll see this later on too when you get these people.
Okay. I like when you said Finnish, and like Finnish person, like I don't know, someone from Finland. Whatever. Okay, then you had that, and then it was like, oh, hurry up and wait. Not responding.
But if you read the accounts of people like Curtis LeMay, the very famous leader of Strategic Air Command, the one who turned into a stock character.
This is fun.
60s movies and whatnot. Dr. Strange.
This is definitely fun.
They all have a Curtis
Why?
LeMay type of cigar chomping here.
You were taking fucking forever. Close the program.
Was one that you saw amongst a lot of generals, and especially these First and Second World War people, who saw the major nasty part of modern war as being its length. And because the casualties mounted every day like a meat grinder, anything you could do to shut that down and limit the length of time the war went on was humanitarian by its very nature, even if what it took to do that was a shocking amount of violence in a very short time to shock everybody into peace. They did not like what was going on in the Korean War.
I was trying to think of what this girl looked like from the Rolling Stones concert. This Russian girl. It's this stripper that I knew, and I was telling the story about being in Pawnee at that strip club. Anyway, so I went to this one for one time. I think I've ever been there, and I went there, and the lady's like, "Can I get you a drink?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay." She's like, you already paid for it, basically. It's like a 1 drink minimum or whatever. Oh, no, that's what it was, 1 drink minimum. You didn't already pay for it. She's like, can I get you a drink? I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, it's a 1 drink minimum. I was like, oh, okay. So I bought a drink, and I don't think I drank it, but I do remember this girl. I said, "Can you please tell me what? Can you please have that girl come over here?" And she did. And this girl and I just sat, and all we did was talk. She's from Chicago, and she was Russian. And I was trying to think who this girl I saw at the Rolling Stones concert looked like. They had this fucking special fucking Russian face. Anyway,
over a period of 3.5 or 4 years, we did burn down every town in North Korea.
what did she do?
And every town in South
She's like
Korea.
an orange
And what? Killed off 20% of the Korean
I was just in a
population.
suit, and we
What I'm trying to say
talked
is, if once you make a decision to
dreams
use
and stuff,
military
and
force
then,
to solve your problem, then you
I
want to
asked her if
use
she wanted to
it.
have
And
dinner.
use an
She did,
overwhelming military
and
force.
she gave me
Use
her
too
number,
much, and deliberately use too much, so that you don't make an error on the other side
I think
and not quite have enough.
it.
And you roll over
I know I
everything
fell
to start
asleep.
with, and you
Really,
close
yeah,
it down
and
just like
I
that.
think I
And you
texted
save
her.
resources, you save lives.
You
Not
blew her
only
off.
your own,
It
but
wasn't
the
like
enemy's
that. I
too.
think I was
And the
falling
recovery
asleep,
is quicker,
and I think I
everybody's
said
back to
she was
peaceful
only in town
existence,
for a
hopefully in a shorter period of time.
and that I enjoyed our time together, but I just was.
So when you wonder about the kind of people that could carry out these kinds of war aims,
What
which
in
may
the
sound
fuck? Why do you
abundantly
say
new
that?
to you, these are people flying planes called peacemakers who firmly believe that their way of war will
Control
end
Z?
up being more beneficial to everybody in the end. It's a similar point of view
So
to
then what?
Douglas MacArthur. It's the traditional modern 20th century
She was-
military point of view. Total war saves lives. Limited
She was a very
proposed
attractive woman.
nastiness.
It's like this girl who I
Once again,
had the alleged relation. She had the same kind of fucking face. It's like a fucking Russian face. This girl was in Marina Del Rey in this fucking green dress, and this girl was gorgeous. And I was like, "Oh, you're Russian? You want to get married?" And she's like, "I have a child in Russia." And I was like, "What else?" Really? Yeah. And what? She's like, "I leave for Russia." It was like Thursday. Or she's like, "I leave for Russia at like 6:30 a.m. on Friday or something, or on Saturday or something like that." I was like, "Okay, well,
talking and working out a deal.
are you coming back?" And she's like, "Yeah, but I mean,
Douglas MacArthur might counter by saying, yes, but the talks will go on for 2 years. And
this was unexpected. I didn't really expect
the
to
entire time.
get married so anyway." So I was like, "Well, I didn't ask you. I was like, I'm just kind of seeing if you're. I'm just testing the waters myself, man." Really? Yeah. But this girl is very pretty. Really?
Lots of casualties,
And
lots
what?
of dead, lots of civilians. I mean, bad all the way around.
It was in Marina Del Rey,
Nuclear war.
and I remember it was just a random. I was like, I was sitting at work, and I was like,
Making lesser
I'm gonna get
evil
paid
choices.
by
In this case,
5, or not by 5.
gotta be
Why
pretty
was it?
darn bad of
It
an
was
outcome
something
for
that I
the
left
war
early,
to not
and we
be
never
a
did
greater
that.
evil.
I think it was a Thanksgiving or something. It was like, is that what it was?
The
I think it was like a
greater evil is
Thanksgiving.
getting worse.
Really? Yeah, because we never, ever left
You
early.
have to say that
Is that what it was? A Thanksgiving?
Harry Truman deserves a lot of credit for getting us out of his entire terms in office without us ending up bombing anyone with nuclear weapons after the Second World War ended. Because I think it was a flip of a coin whether or not we did that.
Or
Remember, all he would have had to have done is listen to some of his military
it was like a
advisors, and he
holiday.
would have.
Really? Yeah. I think it was December
The term of
24th.
office winds down. You can
Really?
see that it's
Who knows?
easy to say.
But that girl had the most beautiful dress, and she was a very pretty woman.
Conventional
Really? Yeah.
geopolitical game of nuclear chess. They're playing by the rules laid down by Truman. And let's be honest, the people that he was playing nuclear chess with, also Joseph Stalin and the Soviets, it was a takes two to tango situation. And between the two major sides, things are hammered out. And there's input from Europeans and third world nations. I mean, this is a global effort to cobble together.
So I used to never say my bad. Why? I had a teacher of mine, an English teacher, was like, "It's not my bad. It's my fault. Don't say my bad." But eventually,
one of the most destabilizing parts of the entire equation.
My bad. Even he said, "My bad." So, yeah, but like we had very, I don't want to say even the people I knew with the best grammar from where I was,
Once upon a time, people didn't have to adapt this quickly.
didn't speak it as well as
Throughout most of human history, the pace of change
because
was
her mother
much
was
less
an
quick
English
than it is
teacher.
today. If you could
Yeah,
take
I mean, she was
1950s atomic technology,
you
give it
get
to the ancient
when you
Egyptians and
when you
say,
start
this is
hanging out with
changed
authors,
very much for the
your
next
English
50
gets very,
generations.
very
Take some
good.
time to figure
You
it
just
out.
start.
Does the extra time they
I
get
got
help
my
them do it, or I mean,
my
it's
peers
just
are
thinking of ancient
like
Egyptians with
published authors and
nuclear
things. It's like
technology too.
it starts to get really good. I'm not saying mine is by any means. I have
The point
tons
is
of
that
mistakes,
I
but
try to again remember who
give
these
me
people
cut me
are.
some slack
Truman
too.
is a
Hopefully you would.
grandfather.
I can't see very well. Really?
You ever had
People
to
say,
help
"Well,
your
clean your
grandfather
glasses."
with tech
I know, even
stuff?
still, I do, and it's like, oh, it's
This
only
is a
for a little
guy
while. I just don't even
who's
fucking
sitting there
care.
listening to different nuclear physicists describe the pros and cons of different ideas and pushing different points of view, and he has to decide which one he agrees with. Why do I have an image of him having to call his kid in college to come home and help him figure out where to turn the nuclear bomb off? I can't find that button. Truman kind of looks like the tweener president from the non-specialist technical era to the one where you have to referee competing arguments between physicists like Oppenheimer and Teller. Requires a different kind of mind, a different kind of an approach, and maybe a different kind of background. As I said, I feel kind of lucky we got out of that era intact, but when you look at the last year of Truman's presidency in 1952, you can see the tsunami of dangers mounting in the distance, and it's hard to have confidence that the haberdasher from Independence, Missouri,
It never hurts to have just a fucking backup.
his flexibility in an
Haberdasher's
atomic world,
right there.
hard to see him flexible enough to deal with some of the things 1952 brings on. For example, here's a guy who's
Do you have a haberdasher?
administration.
I have a whole fucking company. It's called Royal Clothiers out of fucking New York. That becomes my.
But it's always been a two-player
I have a
game.
few of them, but they're the ones who they already have my fucking.
The United Kingdom explodes their first atomic bomb.
I have an email from Michael Y. Rothschild at gmail.com. You can see they already had my
That'll
fucking
change your dynamics. Especially
designs, what I wanted.
the part
Really?
that really bothers
They've had them
me
for years.
about the
Why
UK
haven't you ordered them?
becomes clear, which is that they won't be the last
I was
one
going to. I was
within
going
a year
to order
clock.
like $10,000
In a few
of
years,
clothes
we're going to have 10,
and get them all
15,
tailored.
20
And
powers
why
with
didn't
atomic
you?
bombs. So in order now
Pandemic
for
hit,
humans to
and it was
adapt
like,
to this
well,
new
when the
weapon,
fuck am I
we
gonna
now
wear
have
this
to
shit?
adapt to more
I'll
people
wait till
having it.
like I might not even be the same
It's
size.
much
Who
more
knows?
complex.
It was just like,
Now you had to adapt to change.
and I had so many suits already. My whole fucking closet's full of suits. I have to literally, I throw suits out, and I don't even look because I'm throwing so many clothes, thousands of dollars of clothes worth. Really, yeah. Why do you do it? I don't always pay thousands of dollars for them, but why? Maybe I get them like on sale or other ways, but
truly paradigm shifting. The test
I
occurs
don't
on
have
Earth
storage for 'em.
When it explodes, there's a fireball more than 3 miles wide. There's lightning crackling inside it.
Oh, shit.
The craters,
What the
6,000
fuck?
feet in diameter,
Is this thing done?
holes more than 150 feet deep. Somewhere between 4 and 500
Are you done?
times more powerful.
What is this shit?
Bombs that were dropped in the Second
Oh,
World War,
okay.
4,500 times more powerful.
I don't want this.
What's kind of interesting about this period compared to our own is how much of this weapons development is psychological. Again, to have a psychological edge on your opponent.
I used to hate how he goes. It actually it works in advertising. Really, I'm like, God damn it, you sound like
Today,
a
you
fucking
would
clown.
imagine governments wouldn't even tell anybody about it.
You sound like Krusty the Clown. Okay, are you done? Hey, Krusty the Clown, you're Krusty the Clown.
Because that was
Are you done?
important to its ability to be used. The problem with something
Fuck.
like the thermonuclear weapons, the hydrogen bomb, is that they're so powerful
I'll give you
now
pound
that
250.
they're in effect working
I'll give you pound
against the
250, bro.
idea that you can use them for deterrence, right? The bigger they get, the less willing your enemy or adversary is to think you'll use it. Joseph Stalin is quoted as saying he thinks in Pravda he said that the public opinion and the peace movement around the world will rail their governments in. no one's going to use a megaton, powerful weapon on us because world opinion won't stand for it. And there's some truth to that. But if you're the military and you want to use these weapons, or you're the intellectuals and the political associates of the president, and you want your deterrents to still bite and work, how do you deal with that dynamic, right? That the weapons are so powerful, no one believes you'll use them. Make smaller versions of them. It's a decent argument to ask whether the most destabilizing effect of inventions from 1952, you can make an argument for all three, is it nuclear proliferation starting?
I'll give you a
The
sample.
invention of the hydrogen bomb.
Really? Oh, fuck yeah, baby.
Beginning of the revolution we call today tactical nuclear weapons or battlefield nuclear weapons. And the funny thing about it is that some of the people who worked on it, I mean, Oppenheimer got roped into this, thought he was doing a good thing. I'm going to create smaller weapons because if I create smaller nuclear weapons, the military
Hey, they don't
will be
get
tempted
that.
to use the bigger ones.
Like you're going into the bad guy of a video game.
Famous quote, though, when he years later tried to explain his thinking, he said, to understand where I was then, you would have had to have seen the Air Force's war plan for 1951. He says this was the most goddamnedest thing I ever saw. So it scared him so much, 500, atomic bombs dropped on Russia, that he thought, I'll give them something they
Her
can use
fucking
instead of
clothing
those. It turned out
people would have her clothing for sure. They'd be like,
assumed
what is her
tactical
clothing? It's always like, have a nice day shirts and fucking like, oh, I love the
very
fucking,
quickly to the very
oh,
big
it's like a
bombs that
fucking
Oppenheimer
animal
built.
shelter shirt and shit. Really? Fuck.
Instead, honest mistake, though, new territory here, technologically speaking, aren't we? Another reason maybe you don't want Truman running the show. He's done about as well as maybe you could hope for. So the guy who wins the presidency in 1952 is a very interesting choice for this era. And I think more and more historians are realizing it now. When I was a kid, I had kind of a different view.
You don't want to fuck with the
of
pond.
General,
Why?
November
They don't even know what
1952
they're doing. This
president
fucking
elect
company.
David Eisenhower.
Really? No. Do you know any of the
Interesting. I saw
ponds?
a couple of historians
Okay,
was
what's their
reading
fucking last
not
name?
far off from a decent
They don't even
civilization,
know.
maybe,
Why?
that partly what the
The
United
fucking
States was going
full
for
last
in
name of the
terms of
fucking
elected
company
was they had
is
just
like
had a president and a
P.
general sort of
dot I
disagreeing
dot
about how
D
to fight
near
this war.
more.
We
Is
had
it wait?
all these questions.
DuPont did
Nuclear
near more.
weapons,
Wait, what is
the
that?
world and
No,
everything.
that's
What if you just got a
Notre
person
Dame
with
did
military
no more.
experience, put
It's
them
some
in the
shit
top
like
job,
that. They
and then
throw
when the
that
general was
fucking
already
thing in
not
there.
the president,
That
the
school
president's a
becomes really
general
big.
too.
That one in California. My friend went there.
So
I,
people
her name's
speculate
Lucia.
that
I can't remember her fucking. And she had a
in
beautiful
terms
smile,
of
really great
responsibility
fucking
when he took the
personality,
presidency
and
for a job because he was
she's
coming
seen as a
down
really
from
big thing.
commander of
Why?
NATO.
She said to another girl,
He was the general of the
I
West.
wonder what
There's
it's
one
like to kiss him.
writer I was
And
reading
that
called
that is
the
seen
General
as
of the
like,
West. He's just
I found
married
out
the
that
president of the United States.
I didn't know girls talked about that kind of shit about people.
But Eisenhower's an
Anyway,
interesting guy.
are you done?
His administration, by the way, will follow a lot of the same cycles that the Truman one did, and the administration after him will too. In part because they'll find that they have a lot of pressures and disincentives and incentives working on them that the previous administration also did. And you often try to adopt the obvious solution in those cases, which each one did successfully. So, as we said, the Truman administration seems to have established a pattern that will be followed by.
You're putting ViralRabbi in.
subsequent
That's cool.
administrations.
Wait, didn't they say the moderators?
In Eisenhower's case, though, a bunch of things happened
Moderators
basically right at the beginning of the
fired
Eisenhower
at Twitter.
administration that completely upset the chessboard in ways that give him, well, both opportunities and dangers that Truman never had to face. Start with the fact
Musk
that pretty
fires
much right
outsourced
after
Twitter
Eisenhower actually takes office,
content
January
moderation
20th,
track. Damn, I thought it was all of
1953,
them.
Joseph Stalin dies.
Who track abuse.
March 5th,
Is
1953.
further
He
reducing.
doesn't
I need to know
die
how many of these
like
motherfuckers
a
are there.
long, slow,
Why? Because I'd be like, man,
death.
if it were like
Russia
7
has
of them, I'd
lots
be
of
like, well,
time
let's
to
think
prepare.
about it.
The Soviets
One
have
of them's
lots of
got to
time
be
to
on
prepare for what
vacation
you
at some point.
afterwards.
Maybe he's like,
He
he
has
can't
like
take
a
vacations,
stroke
all
or
this
something.
bullshit.
So
Okay,
it's
fine.
here
One
today,
of them's
gone
going to be sick,
tomorrow,
maybe.
here today,
Okay,
gone
if he's
by
like,
week
everybody's
tomorrow.
got to be in.
We'll
Okay,
see.
then it's 1 versus 7. I got,
What
maybe
the
like
hell
70.
happened to
I
the
don't know.
Soviet
7
Union
million,
after
maybe
Joseph
7
Stalin?
billion. Maybe it's just
This
everybody's a
man's been
fucking
running the
Twitter
show
moderator except Joe the
for
fucking
so
Rothschild.
long in
All right,
the
I'm on to you all.
There's
Fucker
a
Twitter. I'd be like,
logical
see some
question
bitch on the
that
street,
happens,
some
and it happens
fucking
right
lady in a
when
tight little
Stalin
fucking skirt,
debilitated
some
his
lady in a
bone
tight fucking skirt.
paralyzed from the
Really?
stroke, and
Yeah,
yet so
why aren't you like some
pajamas lay
girl
on
in a
his
tight
floor,
little skirt? I'd
unable
be
to
like,
communicate.
have you ever
His
seen some
underlings are
lady
outside his
wear a
room.
fucking tight
They're
little
outside the
skirt?
door talking to
Hubba,
what we do.
hubba. Anyway,
There is no
some bitch who's fucking
logical
confident
To Joseph Stalin, there
What
was
the
no
fuck is this shit?
organized system that dictated the usual vice premier who takes over. Once upon a time,
Anyway,
all
mini
that stuff
skits
had
become
been
really
around.
big.
Stalin
No.
had come up
They
with a
stay
system
mini,
with lots of
but their
brilliant
popularity
intellectuals,
rises.
people from the
Poor
original revolution,
choice of words
people
there.
like Lenin,
Anyway,
all those other great people. Stalin killed a lot of
some lady be like,
and for more than 20 years,
my fucking language, Rabbi. Are you done?
The French king famously said about, his relationship to the country. Louis XIV said, "I am the state. The state is me." And Joseph Stalin could have been the poster boy that came up when you Googled the phrase cult of personality. As a matter of fact, one of his successors will call it. Is that this guy's personality was completely infused on his country. A country, by the way, as we've pointed out before, badly traumatized by a surprise attack in the Second World War. You add to that the Stalin view of communism, which is also paranoid, which, again, just finely tuned self-defense antenna network here instead. But that the non-communist powers were going to try to take you over, add to that you'd already been surprise attacked, add to that you're a paranoid dictator type anyway, and isn't it interesting that is all infused on the player that the historical roll of the dice just manages to give the free world when you have your first ever nuclear chess match? Who do you play? Joseph Stalin. It's going to be a little Machiavellian, right? You're not going to be all peace, love, poets, and Robert Oppenheimer when you're playing that guy. And by the way, I've got quite a few books on the Soviet side of this story. And the problem with the Soviet side of the story is that, once again, it's all Stalin, and you can't figure the guy out. So you're taking public statements and this and that. Several people like Andre
So kids who, Yasmin Bleeth was the first. Yeah, fucking Lebanese kid taught me about Yasmin Bleeth. And he used to get so much shit for being Lebanese for all kinds of reasons. But shout out to all lesbians and Lebanese people, because they get confused all the time by little kids. And
first of all, he wouldn't have believed it.
We'll just leave it at that.
It's all happening anyway. In other words, if the U.S. and Britain and NATO and
Really?
all of them had gone,
nah, we make his life really nice. Really?
Oppenheimer
Yeah, I mean, he was my friend, so if anything, like, that'd be like a really nice thing I could do. I spent a lot of time at his house. I'd make sure his parents had a really nice life, his sister, because they were nice to me. If you were nice to me, especially if you had me over your house, I would make sure you were taken care of. Really. But you didn't have to do that. But if you did, it would be like, that meant we were closer for some reason. Why? Because you opened the kimono, so to speak, to me. What does that mean? It's like you basically, if I'm in your house at any point in my life, I'm seeing your vulnerabilities. I'm also seeing what you've done with your, accomplishments. We got to know each other much better. And I've seen people who have had very accomplished houses and Bentleys and Porsches and Ferraris, and I've seen people who have had nothing, and they shared it with me, and
they will have one face where they will say, you can never use these weapons. I mean, Eisenhower famously
I can tell you the times I've had the most fun were at the smallest houses, probably. It really didn't matter what size your house was, so to speak. But what always mattered to me, we had a big house. That wasn't a big thing, because then we had a small house, and you get a taste of both worlds. And I had all kinds of houses, and we always had a family. That's what was important. We may not always have a house, God really would, but hopefully we would always have a family. Anyway, are you done? Yasmin, please. But anyway, this kid tells me he was all into
I will say this, I can't imagine our
supermarket. And why? Because he always had to have an older sibling who was into something. Like, I had friends who, like my friend Danny, his sister was into music, so she influenced his older brother's taste in music, which influenced his taste in music. My friend had an older cousin who was interested in women before we were, and so he taught his cousin all the names of all the supermodels, and so that's how I got to learn this shit. Really? Yeah.
lays out the stakes to a bunch of people who maybe
Is she hot? She's one of the hottest fucking people of all time. Really? Oh, for sure. Easily. Really? For sure. Of all time. And I like your dog. And is that the end of your story? Well, she's the first Israeli. Is she the first? No, Mordechai Vanunu was the first Israeli. Really? Mm-hmm. For sure? Yeah. I can't even tell you all the fucking... Let's learn all the prime ministers of Israel. I mean, I know... I've got them all in that fucking box. Almost all of them. I've got a little thing of them, but I don't want to give it out. It's a pain in the ass. Once some people get on here, we'll start playing with them. We'll make them do funny shit on the fucking Seinfeld set. But until then, we gotta wait. Why? Because then that Seinfeld fucking set will be all over. When we get fucking 7 people in here, I'll fucking start building a Seinfeld set. Really? Yeah. Prime Minister of Israel. So who was the first one? Do you know? Anybody know? What's his name? What's her name? What's his name? What's her name? David Ben Gurion. And Golda Meir was the first woman prime minister. Whoever this Yair Lapid is, you're like gonna be the. You're fine, but you're like. There's like Benjamin Netanyahu and fucking Naftali Bennett. You could be something else, but there's like I can't memorize that much shit. Really? Yeah. What the fuck is this shit? Give me a fucking list, man. Michael Kiva became yeah. With that company, this is primary. Now, here's the thing. I could be wrong. Really? Yeah. Why? I'm not Israeli. And it's important that I'm not. Really? Well, don't you have birthright and all that other shit? Yeah, I do. But as of right now, I am not expressing. Well, I mean, what do you mean you're not expressing it? I shouldn't say not expressing it. I'm not... I haven't applied for Israeli citizenship. Do you know what to do? Honestly, I never really considered it. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I did, but it was like I'm so American that it was like, okay. So, are you scared that you're wrong on the first one?
That's from the famous Atoms for Peace speech. Eisenhower, like Truman before him,
David Ben Gurion.
Evoke the specter of the world.
Then Moshe Sharet.
Cities lying in ruin.
Then David Ben Gurion again. Then Levi Eshkol. Then Yigal Allon. Then Golda Meir. She was the first female one, and she's big. She makes Milwaukee super big. She was educated in Wisconsin, and she was a president of Israel.
There are so many different ways you can view people.
I mean, I've looked this up, but it's interesting. Naftali Bennett's parents, like going back to some extent, and Gilad Bennett's parents going back are American. And Americans don't know this. We don't pay attention. We're not like allowed to pay attention to fucking Israeli news, but they're American, which means there's kind of been like an American coup in Israel. And Israelis don't see it that way because Israel's a new country, but it's like Americans might see it that way and be positive about it. And basically, like, we had a coup in Israel to some extent. Why is this? It would be like, I think they're ones from Philadelphia or Pennsylvania area. It's like Naftali's dad or something. I don't want to get into all that shit, but something like that. Now, are they fucking blue and gold through and through? No, I mean, they're not red, white, and blue as much as I'd want them to be. Why? Because then you'd never consider anything else but the United States until the day you fucking die. But you know, it's better than nothing, and Americans don't know that Israel's, well, not right now, but throughout when you watched it, Naftali Bennett is the prime minister of most of this. And
If you
he
made it into the history books 100 years from now, how much your life would be compressed into a few
is he American? He's American.
really give the true picture of you.
Now that one we might have to look
J.
up.
Robert
Which look,
Oppenheimer
yeah. Yitzhak Rabin, he'd be big. Menachem Begin, he'd be big.
wasn't always
Yitzhak
too much.
Shamir, he'd be big. Shimon Peres,
He was
he'd be
often
big.
opposed to
Yitzhak
nuclear
Shamir, he'd be big.
weapons,
Yitzhak
but not
Rabin, he'd be
always.
big. Shimon
Sometimes
Peres,
his
he'd be big.
opposition was
Benjamin
more,
Netanyahu, he'd be the
sometimes
biggest.
it was
Ehud
tender.
Barak, he'd be.
And sometimes he saw
He'd
good
be big.
applications for nuclear power.
Nero Sharon, he'd be the best general. Really, yeah. He'd be a, but he would be like the George Washington of generals of Israel. Everyone would be held in comparison to Ariel Sharon. Really, he would be seen as the like Robert E. Lee of generals. Like when you think of very good generals in history, or like
Eisenhower's near addiction to strategy card games.
not that he was like invasive like that, but he would be up there with those kind of generals. Not so much for he's a fine prime minister, whatever. But Ehud Olmert, Benjamin Netanyahu, Naftali Bennett, he would be very fucking big. Yair Lapid, you'd be fine, but Naftali Bennett would be
a huge poker player, but an even bigger.
Why? Just because I wanted him to be. I didn't even know not to be confused with Natalie Bennett. Who's Natalie Bennett? Green Party of Israel. Huh? She's fuckable.
Geopolitical game than chess does, because in chess you can see all the pieces openly.
So it's something about his.
Card game, your hand is known only.
Is he American? I think so. According to American law, it's not that clear cut in American law who's an American. Like Israel, it isn't either. I'm having to make some decisions on these things. So yeah, Brennan was born in Haifa. So well, he's born in Haifa. Hold on. He is the youngest of three sons of Jim and Myrna Lefko Bennett. American, you know what fucking Kahani would say is, don't trust anyone with an O last name. So Myrna, you're in trouble. Really? Yeah. American Jewish immigrants who moved to Israel. Oh, from San Francisco. Sorry, that's Pennsylvania. Both his parents were from Ashkenazi Jewish backgrounds. His father's ancestors were from. So,
Eisenhower was one.
okay.
And he was good.
Hold on. Myrna.
He's got a new opponent, as we
Okay.
said. And you've got
Bennett,
to be breathing a sigh
American
of
Jewish
relief.
immigrants who moved to Israel from San Francisco in 1967. I mean, both of his parents were from Ashkenazi Jewish backgrounds. His father's ancestors were from Poland, Germany, and his paternal grandmother was Jewish Samuelson, who was from Lovanovska, Poland, arrived in San Francisco during California Gold Rush. So, I mean, Bob Zanika,
and it's a fascinating guy
Poland,
to be playing
Solomon,
against
and
during
his mother's
the series.
country
Now
was
you
in
have the
Russian
general
Poland. His
of the
parents
West
immigrated
finally.
prior to World War
West
II.
gets
They
in
later
there
moved
with one of these
Israel
heavyweight
during his
candidates.
daughter's
Okay,
family.
bring on your best shot. And their
Selling
best
15
shot is
streets
a
in
guy named
Haifa.
Nikita
Clips of events
Khrushchev.
in group, some of his brother's family members remained in Poland were murdered in the Holocaust.
Nikita Khrushchev is one of the
That
great
means he did
success
something wrong.
stories you're ever
Really,
going to
yeah.
find.
Why? Because no one who was of
It's
anything
like
who's still
forget
alive
the
died
Lincoln
in the
log
Holocaust.
cabin story. I mean, it's
I know
Nikita Khrushchev was born
271,000
peasant.
people in my family directly. Like, we could connect people with that in the Holocaust. Real Jews who died, 271,000. And I can tell you that the people who got out before the Holocaust,
before the First World War was over, and totally
you basically, I could just tell you this, you knew the Holocaust was coming if you had an ear to the shul and you had an ear to the greater society. What does that mean? Observant people did not die during the Holocaust primarily. Those were generally reform Jews. I mean, like, 271,000 of them connected to our family in some way and from Germany. But that generally was not Orthodox. Why?
That gets given to a guy who was born a peasant, and he's just
a lot of them were. I'm not going to say a lot. There weren't any, many were. But many Orthodox, those who didn't leave, a lot of them didn't leave on their own. Like, they were told, move to Israel.
Part of a group that comes to power in the Soviet Union intent on, perhaps you could say,
or else it's not going to be good, and a lot of them didn't.
from Stalinism.
And from Germany, Ashkenazis choose from.
powerful entities
And
in that state vying for leadership. Also,
I'm not saying we
adhered much
deserved
more
it by
closely
any
to the
means.
old Stalin.
It was a thing. We had to get them back. I know we got to get 271,000 of those motherfuckers back from somewhere. Anyway,
Talks
so
about how it was really the pressures caused.
so like people don't know. He spent time in San Francisco
that forced some of these leaders to take a different look
when he
at
was a kid.
even their orthodox communist, in the sense of very Bolshevik and very Stalinist.
And he spent time in New Jersey. That's right. He next New Jersey for 2 years.
Because
He started his job. He's living.
it was
He
Stalin's
went to.
conviction
He
that it was
he
connected
had
to his
school
views
there.
on
I mean, he's been to American
the
school. So
inevitability of a war
this is
between
like.
the imperialists and the communist states that within
I
10
don't
to
know
20 years,
another
World War
case.
III was coming.
I know pretty well. I'm sure it's happened. Well, yeah, particularly in other countries, but not in Israel. That of which I know. Is that true? I don't know another Israeli president that has any connection to the United States.
And a decent number of those people coming from the countries like Poland and Hungary, and all those places that were sort of under the
They
thumb
all
of the
generally
Soviets.
come
So
from.
how do you even justify that, right? Sorry, you're a captive person right now, but we're going to nuke you in order to free you up eventually.
Europe.
Burn down your village in order to save it.
And
But Holloway talks about Khrushchev
the one who was most
getting
American at any of them was Golda Meir. She went to college at University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee, which one day gets renamed Golda Meir University. It's a big thing.
Because if the inevitable
Anyway,
war that's
are you
coming
done?
is Armageddon, well, that'll mess up your long-term planning, won't it? Holloway writes this about Khrushchev and his people.
So my friends would be
trying
like, so what the hell happened?
to walk
They're
back
like, well, Jews won the world.
ideology
Really? Yeah. I was
in
like,
order to prevent it from inevitably running into global thermonuclear war.
final straw, so to speak. What happened?
By asserting that
Basically,
capitalism and
I didn't convert to
socialism
my own
would
religion,
coexist for a
but I
long
did
time,
everything that you need to do to do a conversion to your own religion, and that's never been done in Judaism as well as I did it. And it was like, at the very end, there was like a surprise. You won. You won the world. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? It's like, no one has been this fucking religious without a woman involved, without financial desire, and anything else? No. The reason why people go through the process through which I generally went was because they're getting married, or because they see a financial advantage to it. And like they have to do it. I did not. I know the financial advantages are there, and I know that marriage options are there, but I did it because of knowledge, and that's really a rarity. I didn't like not knowing
the United States and the West saw the communists up to this period as a monolithic bloc who took their orders from Moscow, and now all of a sudden,
law.
some of these communist
And Judaism was the one kind of law,
halakha, some of them are geopolitical,
in which I wasn't
but some of them are ideological.
knowledgeable at all. Really, actually, it was a lot more, much more than I would have ever thought. My
peaceful coexistence did not mean ideological coexistence, however.
Junior high and high school prepared me really with a yeshiva-like education in many ways.
But that struggle had to be conducted in such a way as to avoid nuclear war.
Is this thing done yeshiva-like education with your red dots?
In other words, the new leaders of the Soviet Union are also trying to figure out how you operate
Game time.
under the old rules in a world who have nuclear weapons and where they are increasingly getting more and more powerful. The Soviet Union explodes its first
Oh, what the
hydrogen
fuck is this
weapon.
bullshit?
We've
Dude,
got
stop this.
disagreement about this.
What?
August 12, 1953 is a good date for
Take
this. Some
that
of the real
fucking shit.
will say, well, that's not a true hydrogen weapon. They'll get into the physics of it. Nonetheless, over the next year or two, the Soviets will refine the weapon to a point where no one will argue anymore that they too are a thermonuclear power. The equation in terms of the global dynamics will be altered, though, by the big U.S. test that goes off on March 1st, 1954. The explosion ever set off by the United States. To this day, more than 15 megatons. It's called the Bravo test. This time the fireball was like 4 miles wide. I mean, everything just gets bigger and larger. But what made Bravo so completely over the top in terms of waking up the public to a level where the alarm buttons really were raised on a wide range of demographics. Whereas before, if you were a
I do
European
not
living
like
on a
this.
nuclear battlefield, you were always aware of what might happen to you. If you were a person living with not a care in the world of these Cold War events at this particular time
Toe
period,
thins become big.
you would notice what a
Really?
lot of the rest of the world noticed about the Castle
Why?
test.
Mrs. Philippek had, well, I shouldn't just say she had, but I think it was her idea.
Because it was so much
Why?
larger than experts.
We had two teachers in third grade, Mrs. Ask and Mrs. Philippek.
There were
And
physicists
Mrs.
who had
Philippek's
worst
daughter's
case
name was
scenarios in their
I think
nightmares.
she went to
You know, from before this period, that thought if you did this wrong, the whole atmosphere could catch on fire and all these kinds of things that sound crazy. But I'm not a physicist, so I don't even know if that's possible.
She was smart. I remember going to her in third grade saying, my grandmother says that I'm Native
It's a safe
American.
area. You try to make a zone.
Can't you see it in my face?
It doesn't make them
Like in my
safe.
cheeks? I said, can't you see it in my cheeks?
Really?
Yeah. And you could. I mean, I could kind of see it if that's what that was.
Famously, a Japanese fishing boat outside the exclusionary zone was bombarded with radiation.
And she didn't doubt it at all. Really? No, she said,
Immense amounts of fallout went up in the air. You know, when these
you're probably a little of everything. That's what my mother said.
coral
Really,
reefs
yeah.
and whatnot are atomized, for lack of a
Why? Because what are you going to tell a kid? Oh, you're not. Your grandmother said that you're Native American. No, you're not. Why? Because I'm just going to be a bitch to you today. I feel like it's a Wednesday. Fuck you, kid. All right, are you done? Like, oh, no, my teacher said no. She's gonna get you. But, was it true? Yeah, I mean, I think it actually is like Pocahontas is the woman. Yeah, we have some kind of family that goes back to the Boston Brahmin, basically. And it's like 1 in 16 people of Boston Brahmin can connect themselves to Pocahontas or Sacagaway. I think it's Pocahontas. Through that John Smith Pocahontas relationship. Really? I think so. But Sacagaway, I think we're probably related to Sacagaway as well. Really, yeah.
In part because the whole
God damn
understanding
it.
that nuclear weapons use, even just testing on the part of a single global power, could affect everyone.
Anyway, hey Sacagaway.
Everyone had
That's really getting you far. See what happens when you fucking, when you're a little bit Native American, see where that, when you're you know,
their former possessions. And these places were forming their own governments and had sovereignty of their own, for a change. And they kind of sometimes look
so,
at the Cold
but
War
Judaism
the way the
won.
man from
Yeah, I mean,
Mars
it's
we
basically
talked
going to
about
do
earlier.
what it always does,
As
but it just
outsiders
hasn't
who
done
are
this.
always worried about the idea that,
in-
listen, I don't care what your beef is with each other, just don't pollute the world that we all need. And this new power block
Like 3,000 years.
increasingly
Well,
so.
Judaism used to be a bully of the world, especially in the Let's watch our words here. Used to be and still is, and I need to watch this fucking act. And if I ever saw what I felt was what some of these fucking people do in Israel and is
with our weapons technology, the group scientists, the Einsteins, and the Bertrand Russells, and the Oppenheimer
antagonize specifically Muslim people in Israel who have just as much right to be there as you fuckers do, and you have to see them as your brothers and sisters who just hadn't gone through the process of conversion yet, but they were as much Jews as these people are in Judea, Samaria, which they are, in Ramallah and all these other fucking places, Nablus and fucking Jericho and all these other they were as much Jews as you were genetically. They just may not necessarily know it. There's a reason why they're there. So there'd be a process for them. So quit fucking killing them, is what I'm trying to say. Gaza's the same way. There would be a process. Really, absolutely. And these fucking guys who in Gaza, there would be a lot of guys who would be like, I was in a tank and I was told by my tank commander to knock down these people's homes. There would be a program that just for these fucking older people from the military, they would go, and when we rebuild Gaza, Gaza will be one of the nicest parts of the world. It's right on the Mediterranean. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the people who live there will live in harmony with the other people there. Eventually, it's all Israel. But for some time, Gaza's got to have fucking, they'll have an uprising in Gaza. the West Bank. And people don't even know what the fuck that is. These are two separate parts of the fucking thing. It's like, it'd be like getting attacked from Mexico and getting attacked from Canada. Anyway,
by the signatories of their manifesto to
but
the notice of all powerful
I
governments in
don't
the
want
world,
the.
in the earnest hope that they may agree to allow
When I
their
think of the West
citizens
Bank,
to survive.
I'm sorry, when I same shit. But when I think of Gaza,
Peace then goes
I
on to
think
talk
of
about the power
Israeli
of
tanks
nuclear
crushing
weapons. It then goes on to talk about how
non-Israeli homes.
they
That's what
understand
the
that
world
idea
thinks,
of
and that's not how it
getting
should
rid
be.
of war
It
sounds
should be
pie in the
rebuilt
sky,
and be
but
nice.
the
And the
power
people
of
who are there,
weapons has changed everything, including
do
the
they
power
deserve to be there and
pollute.
deserve to have their religion?
What they
They're
then
not
go
going
on
to
to
have
say
their
is
religion.
pie in
They
the
won't
sky,
want
if
that.
you will.
They'll see
The
whatever the fuck
abolition of
this is,
war
and they'll be like, oh,
sounds
there's an opportunity to live in harmony with our neighbors.
failure in this realm.
They don't want to fucking. It's still God. That's energy. Once everyone can align on that. If I say that the most secular Israeli and the most religious Muslim, or the most secular Muslim and the most religious Israeli, I think that energy is a thing. Will agree. To one person, that's God. To another person, that's a scientific thing. Fine. We can just whatever you consider that. That's what people believe. They don't believe in this pie in the sky kind of God with corporeal. He's non. We think of God as in Judaism, non-corporeal, and so do in Islam. Islam and Judaism. That's why I want to daven in a mosque before anything when this gets big, and it'd be at the Orange County Mosque, Orange County Muslim Center, Islamic Center. My roommate, was married. He just got nothing I did. He and I were very good friends. He was the one person I was in jail basically, and called him. And he got back to me. Anyway, no one else though. Not Nancy Pelosi, not my mother. No. But Muhammad did. So that's why we consider him basically our closest friend. Anyway, but we got PJs. But PJ. But Muhammad did. So he said, "Can you help me?" All right, are you done?
Russell Einstein group of scientists has found their block of support, and it's international nature. Now, there are other great intellectual thinkers out there who will form the counterpoint to these people. We've talked about them already. These people that started, getting together at major universities, places like Yale and whatnot. These other intellectuals who don't buy this idea that we can change so fundamentally that we could outlaw war. They begin trying to think of how, once again, you live with these weapons in a way that more closely corresponds to how history has shown we're likely to behave. And if the worst happens, how do you somehow mitigate the worst case scenario? Earlier we had said that Eisenhower was a good strategic card game player. If you were going to be involved in this kind of a global game, if you will, didn't you want to have a game in that position? But in a country of hundreds of millions of people, why would you stop at one good gamer? If you were playing a chess game for the survival of the world on your side, wouldn't you want all your intelligent people getting together somewhere and analyzing it? Studying the game, if you will. Analyzing every move and possible counter
Did you talk about world peace?
every variable that might crop up. I mean, if it's a card game, we're holding atomic bomb cards in our hand, and somebody draws an ace of clubs in a minute, what do we do? Those people began to coalesce out of these amazingly intelligent intellectuals, and will eventually find themselves working together in places like the famous Rand Corporation. But they didn't start that way. They started by essentially asking the kind of questions that are a function of the time. The sort of higher questions of the sort that got Truman in trouble with MacArthur over war aims, right? I mean, famously, one of these people were the founding fathers of what today we call civilian defense intellectuals, was a guy named Bernard Brody. And Brody will famously get involved initially with all this just because the Air Force asked him to look at some World War II, do what? To achieve what? And all these deep questions that
I don't know
in
anything
general,
about him.
the
She was
military
on that
guys
show, all
weren't
those
thinking
girls
about
on that
because this
fucking
wasn't
show.
part of their gig.
Laguna Beach become really
In Korea, MacArthur's job was to win the war, not to figure out the political situation afterwards and all this. All these people who are rising nuclear era, these intellectuals were pointing out that there is no separation between those things. How you fight the
They're
war
fortunate to have
will
lived those
determine
lives,
so many other things.
they're
For example,
they'd be big. Lawrence
One of the big
Con
problems
had
that
a really
Brody had
big.
with the entire warplane that guys like ROTHSCHILD had come up
But
with,
actually, they
nuke
wouldn't
the
be as
Soviet
big as this
Union
one fucking
all at one
TRUMAN.
time, quickly as possible, get it over with.
What is that show?
Lost every bit of leverage
Yosh.
that you might have. Brody argued that the game goes on even when nuclear weapons start falling, and that the way things turn out, the difference between maybe 100 million lives could be how you play the game once the bombs start falling. Now, here's the thing: all these people that ran corporation in these defense elections are often characterized as a combination like Mr. Spock and Sheldon Cooper from the Big Bang Theory. People with great mathematics and economics backgrounds who are so great at crunching numbers.
There's one girl who's way higher than all the others.
Detached from the real world blood and guts reality, what they're studying if the worst case scenario happens. Nonetheless, it's hard to argue with some of the things they say. For example, Brody had famously said early on that cities as hostages, your adversary cities held hostage is a lot more valuable than having a bunch of corpses made. The Maze Plan created corpses. Brody wanted to preserve flexibility even after the atomic bomb was dropped. He pointed it out this way. Fred Kaplan, in his 1980s classic, The Wizards of Armageddon, discusses it. He says, quote, Brody reasoned that the final surrender of the Japanese in the Pacific War resulted not from the atom bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but from the implicit threat of more atom bombs on their way if the Japanese did not give up then. Likewise,
The hard truth
the
thing, that
Soviets would
thing
more
becomes
likely
really
stop
big. If you're
fighting after
if you've ever
receiving
been in a
some
hard truth, you're
destructive
honest. You're
blows,
somehow
knowing that
related.
if they stop,
All the
their
people
cities would
who
be the
were
next
on,
targets to get hit.
who do you think you are? I never saw that show,
We blew
but
up
it was
their
like a
cities at the very outset of the
show
war.
as
The
PBS
bargaining
or
lever
something.
would be blown up along with them.
People's
Hostages
genetics,
have
we were
no
related.
value
Every
once they
person
are
was on.
killed.
Somehow.
Consequently,
Really,
the
I was like
Soviets
the
would
1%
feel no
connect
inhibitions about blowing up American cities in return. Hardly an outcome that would serve the interest of American security. End quote. It's a combination of coldly, dispassionately logical, and at the same time, in its own way, especially when compared to the atomic blitz plan that the Air Force had in place, humanitarian. These are the people who coalesce, and Brody is
What
one
becomes
of
the
them.
biggest movie
Khan
of
is
all time?
another. John von Neumann will be involved. And von Neumann has been called by some people the most
Avengers
intelligent man who's
fans.
ever lived.
There are
I think
others
it's very
though.
debatable, but if
Who's
you're
the biggest
anywhere in that
music
conversation,
person
you
about the
have
biggest
an
music
incredible
album?
mind. And in the 1920s, von Neumann famously in a poker game
Rita Wilson
devises the modern
Like-
version of what you could call the mathematical theory of games, because that's what they did.
Rita Wilson.
Today we just call it game
You
theory.
watch. They'll be like the end of
The
time
standard definition of game
or whatever we
theory
consider
was
music to be.
mathematically
And they'll be like,
precise
okay, Billboard's going out of business and we're not going to listen to music. They're not going to do that anymore. It'll be something in the future. What's the last big album anybody ever will put out? Well, she already put it out. It's just everybody, and it becomes, maybe they buy it before that. Maybe it's really good. I don't know. I'm not listening to this fucking thing right now. I bought a fucking golf bag because it said Wilson. When I put it down, it was because it was fucking LPGA, former LPGA president Patty Berghoff's bag, and it's like a piece of history.
to analyze this game.
Are you done though? Hey, former LPGA president Patty Berg, are you done?
See mankind evolve away from war, running into the speed of the pace of change.
Oh my God.
Everything keeps evolving so quickly that the minute you may think you have this atomic poker game figured out, with one deck, somebody decides, okay, now we're going to play with another deck added to it. It upsets your paradigm on a regular basis. It's arguable, but perhaps the biggest destabilizer between 1950 and 1960 is the growth of missile technology, which, at the end of the Second World War, in a couple of key areas, German scientists were ahead of the West and the Soviets. Missile technology, for example, they've been using at the end of the war a missile called the V2 against places like London. And suspiciously, for about the next 10 years,
he's got his own fucking haircut. I'm sure that's not a thing. There's just nobody's going to his fucking website. I bet. Why? It would be really big. His website, I used to think was the place to go, and it would be, but it is not.
purpose
Why?
technological applicability? Because when the
You have
Soviets
to
launched
pay
the
to be
first
on there.
satellite
It's like
to space
anything. You
in
got to give them a cut.
1957,
And so lawyers don't want to do
some
that.
people worry that the
And I
Soviets
understand
are
that. But it would be a big
space
thing in the
technology,
future.
but a lot of people
People would
understand that if you can put
literally, if
something
you
in
needed a
space,
lawyer, you would just go to there
tip
and
a
they get you
rocket,
hooked up with somebody.
you can
It'd
put
be
a
like
bomb
dust
in the
service.
rocket and send it to the
Really?
United States.
If you wanted.
The real key
Hey, you
change
could
for me
dominate these
reading all
fuckers.
this
Why don't you?
material was the modern material makes it clear that
Get
even
big,
though
baby.
the
Get
time
big.
the United
Get
States
big,
was
you
most
dominate.
frightened
Your little, you do
or
your little
hating them,
fucking thing
they were
here, and you
building
sit there and
bomb
fucking
shelters in
watch
the
them, and you
backyard
sit
of
and fucking
Nebraska.
swing your golf club in the
The
back.
Soviet Union probably had
Maybe leave
very
early,
little
like.
chance of launching
Now that would be
atomic
one thing
weapons, as
they
we
could,
said earlier.
on which they could give me. Did you ever have to leave
First of all,
early
an
from
attack
school?
during the
I
period
did.
of developing
Hold on.
aircraft in the United
Not
States
when I
had a
worked as
wonderful
an
defensive
accountant, the
air
job
force
I
that could
loved.
have shot down anything.
When I worked as
But it's missiles that changed
a
that.
managing director, because it was in
They
LA
also
County,
start putting them on
and
submarines, which changes everything
sometimes
too.
I'd have to leave like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe like 3 minutes, or not long, not very early. Sometimes maybe like no more than 10 minutes early. Well, 10. No more than but, yeah, I never left really before. I'd leave at like 7:25. I'd get there by 6:30. I was ready with vomit every single day, and I
break the tension somewhat.
I left at 6:35 every day. 6:35. Hold on.
President Nixon and the press in tow, sort of to get to know you, and both sides to sort of humanize each other a little bit.
7, about 7:25. But we were done sometimes at 7:20. So sometimes it was like, all right, have a good day, everybody, and we were already done. But sometimes they'd have to cut that a little short when there was a reading, and usually it was when there was a holiday or something that was extending it. But usually on, shout out to this one guy who would bring his 3 sons. They were really well-behaved kids, and I envied him. Why he was able to bring his sons to school on Thursdays, and they had a breakfast there. Also, shout out to Rabbi. He would make breakfast for everyone. He was the kindest guy. Yeah. But they would come to school, and they were just really well-behaved, nice kids, and their dad was seemingly a very good father. They were at least there once a week. Why? Because no kids were there. Is that true?
Began deploying intercontinental ballistic missiles and fleets of ballistic submarines.
Why?
The effective abandonment
They
of
gotta get
international
ready for
control
this.
efforts
It's
and
not
the
a
race to build a numerical
It does
and
have a Jewish
qualitative
day
nuclear
school
advantage
that
resulted
which
in
is
the
shared, but
American
it's like
nuclear arsenal
it's a
mushrooming
different.
from just under
It's different.
400
That's the big
weapons in
word.
1950
When you're
to over
traveling every fucking day,
20,000 by 1960. The Soviet
kids are
arsenal,
just not.
likewise, jumped from 5 warheads in 1950
Well, they're not obligated
to
to do
roughly
that till they're
1,600 in
13.
1960.
And
The United States was ahead, but afraid.
there were no 13-year-olds. There were no 14-year-olds. There were no 15-year-olds. There were no 16-year-olds. I would occasionally see people, but no kids were really there.
From 45 to 52.
But this guy would bring his kids,
And what seemed
and
complex
I
at
thought
the
that was really
time,
nice thing. I know
and how all of
if
this stuff
like that's how I would really my
makes that
father.
look
He
like
was in there every fucking
by
day,
the time
and I would have been there just like my fucking father would have been. Like I was for all the fucking religious shit,
with 9
and
decks going at the same time. But he's grown with it. He's learned how to play this game. He started
been
and
there every
stepped
day.
in at a time when it was much less
Why?
complicated.
He would have even had me there before I was 13, because he was having to do it. Like, this is what we do.
His hand. This is my strategy. Good
Really?
luck.
Absolutely.
And
Are you done?
his hand
That's
the
fine.
cards over to one of the great gamers, a guy you would say, if you had to handpick them, might have been uniquely qualified for this time in this place.
Oh, is this thing still going?
He's
Remember?
also the head of a system
Hey, Rabbi, don't
that
forget
doesn't
this
pick
thing's.
their people based on qualification.
This thing's a
The
fuck.
person that gets to
Weird.
sit in the chair and play the other side,
It doesn't.
with
Okay,
the
you got
world
50
as your
troops.
stakes in the card game of the chess match, is chosen by the electorate.
You didn't hashtag ViralRabbi, so you don't even fucking know what it is.
1960 will be Dwight Eisenhower's last year in office.
So you're saying there are no kids there? No, I understand. I don't expect them to be there. I'm just saying they're not as tough on their kids as my father perhaps was with me. And I know those kids didn't want to fucking be there, but they
And what if you get someone in there
they would come.
poorly.
It was admirable that they would be there.
The
Really?
voters in the United States
Yeah, they seem like good brothers too. Really?
Yeah. They were voting, say, for
Rabbi,
President
real
Roosevelt
Rabbi.
for re-election in 1940. They weren't voting for the most dangerous human being of all time. When they go to the polls in 1960 to vote for someone to replace the retiring Dwight
What day
Eisenhower,
is it?
that's exactly what they're voting for.
I know this is Mark Thompson was on fucking last night.
His power and
Really?
authority
I swear to God,
in
this
the
guy
1930s and 1940s. Franklin Delano Roosevelt
Oh, so today's
didn't
Wednesday.
have atomic weapons,
Yesterday's
so couldn't have taken us to nuclear war.
Real Bible Rabbi. Search said, oh, fuck this. Real Bible Rabbi, dog.
He operated in a constitutional
What the
framework
fuck are you saying?
that, especially for the big wars, required the involvement of other people. The Congress, for example, he couldn't do this by himself.
What in the fuck?
In 1945, the advent of atomic weapons changed all that. The Truman administration took that power to themselves, rightly or wrongly. They had some good reasons, but you can disagree about them.
Who becomes big? Who's that? The killers become big.
From
From where are the killers? Las fucking Vegas. The killers become really big. Why? I had two friends of mine who were, well, three. Really? Yeah, I had two really close friends who I just adored. And, okay, that's all cool and stuff. Why? Basically, if you were my friend when I wasn't a student at the university, you were in a really, really special spot. So who would that be? Like all some Hungarians, like some special people at the university. Not many university girls, only some Hungarian girls. Really? Not many. No, I'm about to talk about some girls who were. But that isn't to say that you didn't give me the time of day or anything like that. No, I talked about some of them already. But these people went above and beyond. And so who would just some of me? Well, just this story. My friend Allie Brewer, my friend Keelan Sleeper, I don't know what they are now, but I'm sure they're married. And also Kristen D'Ambrose, very, very cool. And we have other friends. There's two, Caitlin Sue and some others.
Holocaust becomes
possible. Really, yeah. Who were, well, I just, it's not an embarrassment, but like my friends, her parents like own strip clubs and stuff. Her parents, her father's had like a chain of strip clubs in Florida. It becomes the biggest chain of strip clubs in the state of Florida. Yeah. If it isn't already, I think it already is, but maybe it gets up there with like Spearmint and Spearmint Rhino and fucking whatever cheetahs is in fucking Canada and anything else. Yeah, Deja Vu. And here's one. Deja Vu is in Kalamazoo. They used to call it the Vu in Kalamazoo. And the big thing was, I wasn't yet 18 years old when I was working at the golf course. But my friends told me, when you turn 18, we'll go to the Vu in Kalamazoo. And I'm like, what is that? Like, it's a strip club in Kalamazoo. I was like, they weren't my friends, like from school. They were friends with whom I worked. And so they were a little more like into that kind of stuff. And, I was like, well,
with their finger on the button, or
tell me all about what are the inside and outside and stuff. Like, well, you gotta be 18 to get in. You gotta be 21 to drink. But the 18 is like the first floor you could get in and get lap dances and stuff. And 21 was upstairs. But 18 was like that. There's a thing like a lot of states are like this. I think it would change, but like all nude theaters, you couldn't drink at them because people get too touchy. Or whatever. But like what? And then you could also be like 18 at those. But
Russell Einstein manifesto said,
and that might continue, but 21 was, I don't know. I think actually most places would be like this. They'd have all nude downstairs at 21 or all, I don't know, fucking, they're not all gonna be like this. I don't know. They'd be like all nude theaters. That's the thing. Most, like from where I was, I don't think you had all nude. There was no all nude. There was. Everybody had a different rule. Some places you could wear pasties. Other rules you could just be topless, not bottomless. Here they had all nude but no alcohol, or topless with
more
alcohol.
risky and more muscular. It would be Eisenhower that would say
So,
no.
and you could be 18
And
and go,
Eisenhower instead
but
been a
you had to be like
civilian
21 to go.
Truman,
I
maybe
think.
these
No, I think you'd be 18. I don't fucking care.
Made up a lot of military
Although
advisors.
18 clubs would be a thing.
Powerful,
Really,
charismatic
yeah,
figures.
especially
So
like
they make
the
steamroll
won't get into all
another
that right
civilian
now.
like Truman.
Anyway,
But
like
during
the
this
big bomber.
critical period when we were trying to get the
Yeah, are you
formula
going? Are
right,
you done
the
here?
guy who
Like
stood
the bomber?
in the civilian role and protected the civilian role was himself a military guy and could push back against the generals because, you can't accuse
So that
Eisenhower of not understanding the military situation.
Hold on a second. You should probably stop.
Who was going to have
Probably
the
get
ability
out of this one.
in the background to stand up if the
Right, yeah,
generals were
because
to
that's
push
already.
in a hawkish direction.
Who tweeted this? Is
The
it
consequences for voters getting this wrong in 1960 are enormous. It's probably at this
Real
point, if the man
Viral
from Mars we've been
Rabbi.
using as part of our discussion here is watching the 1960 election, he's not going to be able to figure out we human beings at all. Because in the mind of any Mr. Spock type character, they're going to look at this and logically
Are you
figure
done?
out that the only thing Americans should care about is getting
You can
the sword of
shave.
Damocles question right. But that's not how human beings function in any system where they're allowed to have an opinion. It will be one of the concerns that factors into their decision over who they vote for most dangerous man in all human history. But it will not be the exclusive
Kids,
thing.
I don't
They're
believe
gonna
any
care about domestic
psychological
tax question that determines who they
unless
vote
it
for.
has long-term
It's probably going to be
scientifically
an issue of what
backed
party they
studies.
are. Where some
You can
Americans
make a,
are vote
which is
reliably
basically
for
what
the
I'm trying to say is you
Republican
can make a
candidate,
study.
the other for
No,
Democrats.
it's a fucking book,
Even
How to
so,
Lie with
Democrats
Statistics.
can
A very
prevent
famous book from the
party loyalty to
1950s.
come into play.
Really, it becomes very famous. I think we already read
Finally,
it on
and this is the part that
Really?
I
Yeah.
would imagine would really confuse the man from Mars. The question of personal charisma and glamour and likability will come into this. And you will think to yourself, well, of course, that's just how these things function. But if you back off and look at it from an outsider's viewpoint, what if that becomes the reason you vote for the person who plays a really poor game of atomic poker?
Hemp would be big.
Nuclear bridge, three-dimensional geopolitical nuclear booby trap chess.
What the fuck is that saying?
Of course,
It's so small.
these international groups like the Bertrand Russell, Albert Einstein might point out, it's also a heck of a lot of power for American voters to make a decision that impacts the people around the world who have no say at all in the decision. The people that we were
If
talking
anything,
about,
dear
they do
God,
not care about
I want to be the
US
person to
tax rate at
improve
all
search.
in the
Search
1960 election,
sucks
but they sure as
dick.
heck hope
Especially Google, but all these other ones too. Really? Yeah. Why?
look at the Central
They just,
Europeans.
it's like no one ever was like, hey, you know, like you could put like results in. Maybe that, like common people might put, oh wow, oh at Google, yeah.
People
Okay,
aren't going to vote
try
for a
searching.
president based on
Search
who's better
search.
looking.
Latest.
Well, in 1960, the better looking candidate wins. He's also by leaps and bounds the far richer candidate. He's the less experienced candidate. He is the younger candidate, which is saying something. Because Richard Nixon, the Republican former vice president under Eisenhower, is a mere 46
What
years
in
old,
the
which
fuck
is
is
young.
this shit?
His opponent who wins is John F. Kennedy, and he's a mere 43. He's still the
Okay.
youngest man
Why would I
ever
like
elected to the office. He's a kid. The 70-year-old Eisenhower and his old people, walk on stage
Jesus
and
fucking
turn
Christ, just
over
fucking you
the
do it.
nuclear launch
No, but that goes
codes
against.
to a kid. A playboy, a millionaire playboy. Father's money estimated, I thought I read in Fortune magazine, like $300 million.
It gets suspended
So
then
much it
and be
doesn't
like, oh,
matter
this
whether
is
it's
done.
adjusted for inflation or not.
Alright, you are so good looking. That is one of the most famous things of all time.
His earlier
Yeah.
history of how he
Why?
originally made that money a lot
Are you
more
done?
certain than being an ambassador.
Uber Eats, what is all this fucking shit?
Was a swinger. He played around with guys like Frank Sinatra, and those guys dated a lot of girls that weren't his wife. Not a lot of people knew that, and the press didn't talk about that much. But
Are
having
you
one of these
done?
families that was so beautiful,
That'd be my question.
photogenic, that Life
List,
magazine and Time
bookmarks.
magazine, and all these things that gave
Oh,
him
you could
all
at that
the
motherfucker.
public exposure
Look at
to him
that.
free of charge, helped him out a ton. All the
At
photogenic nature of him, it all helped
a
a ton.
direct message
Everybody
roll
can
with it.
understand
ViralRabbi.
this. That's
What?
just politics. But is that something that's
She said
outdated by the time
LSD.
you're picking your leaders? Will give them the sort of power that Richard Nixon, don't feel bad, he'll get to be president too.
You're
Just
gonna
not
queef?
in 1960. We'll brag about it in 1974 when admittedly He's got a few more missiles under his belt than Kennedy will have, but he'll tell the press in 1974, and this should wake everyone up to the disaster you would have if you voted for the wrong person, because they'd have this power too. Nixon quipped to the press that I could go into my office and pick up my telephone, and in 25 minutes, 70 million people will be dead. The real danger in the system created to manage nuclear weapons is that there is no margin for one strike and you're out situation. How long do you trust the electorate and the political system in general? Because after all, the electorate is going to choose the candidates who do well in the political system. How long do you trust them to do this without making some sort of a terrible mistake? In the 1960 election, when John F. Kennedy becomes the president of the United States, there's a significant number of people that think that a lightweight has just been given control of the nuclear arsenal.
What is it?
And unfortunately, for world events upcoming, one of those people is going to turn to Nikita Khrushchev. He's going to be wrong about that. But that's what sets the stage for disaster. It's those kind of miscalculations. That's the exact word Kennedy used.
What in the flying fuck is the name of this goddamn fucking thing?
Because by this period, it's becoming apparent that neither side wants that. So how could you have a war if neither side wanted it? A mistake, a miscalculation.
Alright.
Something unforeseen.
Edit it and put hashtag ViralRabbi.
The book Inside the Kremlin's Cold War by Vladislav Zubok and Konstantin Pleshikov. It's
You
interesting
can't
to
edit
read
it. You fucking
exactly how
fuckface is
much
it Facebook or whatever the fuck this is. Say no.
Kennedy would become
Fuck
the
you, you gotta
president,
pay
but not because he
$8.
thought he was
It used to be $1. I was a member of Twitter Blue when no one knew what it was.
reach out and
They know what it is now. But it used to be only $1. Really? I was like just one member. I ended
Khrushchev apparently, I didn't know this, did everything he could to help Kennedy get elected. Told KGB
Are you done
officers
now?
in Washington, analyze the situation.
Are
If
you
there's anything you
done?
can do
Are you
diplomatically,
done? Oh, fuck, that's
propaganda to
wrong.
help do it.
You have to shave?
Called Kennedy his president after he was elected and told him at the first eye-to-eye meeting they ever had, I got you elected. Now, trying to figure out the motivations of the Soviet leader in this situation is as difficult as it is for any of these other politicians and people we've been discussing, right? The layers to the core of the onion are impossible to discern. But Zubok and Pleshikov Inside the Kremlin's Cold War seem to indicate that Khrushchev was excited about
Are you
Kennedy
done now?
coming to
Hey,
the
what are you
presidency,
doing?
not because he was happy to
Are
have
you done?
some sort of weakling or lightweight, at least compared to Eisenhower, who was a heavyweight in office, but because he realistically
Dude, you are
believed
ViralRabbi
that
for.
his sources
Why
told him that
doesn't it
Kennedy was a
show up?
pragmatist, which he was, not an ideologue.
Like, I guess, that fucking real ViralRabbi?
Zubok and Pleshikov write,
Whatever, follow him?
Khrushchev was prone to optimistic and often wishful thinking,
Real
and in the early months after Kennedy's
viral.
election, he had an
And then it's like,
irresistible
oh, you have to go to your
temptation
search
to see
settings.
his
Okay, we'll just do that. Oh, no, you have to log in on a PC.
He
What?
tried many channels
Why?
to convey to Kennedy that his presidency could open up a new era.
Want to join Twitter, boo?
U.S.-Soviet
You need to have an
relations.
Apple phone.
No, detractors and hardliners would say it's all part of a plan. He's just gonna.
Elon Musk is seriously bitching and moaning about this fucking company, and he can only download its thing to make money on fucking half the fucking devices out there. You shit, man. I would literally be like, I want a fucking return. It's been 30 fucking days. Give me this fucking thing back. Really? Oh, I'd be so fucking pissed. Okay, follow him.
Because he would be not taking into account the fact that nobody gets to start off with a clean slate.
They promoted a tweet on my
system, whereas we said this is a tag team.
Wow, they're really
Game of atomic
turning.
And in the same
Ad
way,
filter
Eisenhower
YouTube.
had Truman's hand in mid-game. Kennedy has to take over Eisenhower's hand in mid-game, and Eisenhower has some crappy cards. Let's lay that out there right now. He warns Kennedy about them too. He says, Laos, going to be some trouble, just warning you. Kennedy would find that next-door neighbor, Vietnam, ended up taking more of his time and attention. Eisenhower also handled him the one card everybody knew was danger, handed him the Berlin card, which was once again hot as hell.
Okay, move this.
Khrushchev would say about Berlin that Berlin
Not
was
clear
the
on
testicles
all,
of the
dude.
West, Every time I want to make the West scream, I squeeze on Berlin. He was squeezing it in the late 1950s, and it became one of the two closest times the Eisenhower administration came to nuclear
Okay,
war.
now
The other
what?
was over a couple of islands off the coast of China. But you hand that card over to the new young
Is it
president.
done?
And then he
Or
handed
is it called
Kennedy a new
YouTube?
card, an unexpected card, one that
Hey,
has
YouTuber.
become more and more important.
Are
But
you
it's in a
following
weird
him or
place. It's
something?
Cuba. 90 miles off
You're
the West
following one
Coast.
person. It should be that one. It should be
Normally a place
cheap.
the U.S. would not be looking for trouble. During this era, as we said, they see the whole
You're
freedom
following two
communism
people.
battle
Why
as a
does it say
zero-sum
one?
game.
I bet one of
Communism
them is
wins some
fucking
country
banned.
on the
It's
edge of
just
the earth. That's a big deal.
bullshit.
So how the heck
Okay,
it ever
now
snuck
what?
into Cuba? Well, it's a good story, a little off the beaten path for us, except as it relates to this great game. But in the late 1950s,
Is it called
the
following?
government, the autocratic, strongman style government of Fulgencio Batista is toppled by some revolutionaries led by a guy named Fidel Castro, and you may recall his lieutenant's name, Che Guevara. For a very short period of time, no one knows what these guys are about, but then they end up by hook or by crook. There's
Shout out to
disagreements about
Carson
this,
Kids Market.
aligning themselves
It's
with the
amazing. When I
socialist
donated
side
my
of the
card, they
world.
called me and they're like,
This is a huge problem.
I called them and we were on the
As
phone
far
with
as
the
the
lady.
Eisenhower
What's her
administration was
name?
concerned, during their last
What did
years in
I say?
office,
It was
it had
very
to be
funny.
dealt
She
with.
and I had a
They had a
very
plan.
funny conversation.
The CIA
What was it? I
plan
was like,
involving exiles from Cuba who were going to hit the beaches at a place called the Bay of Pigs and overthrow that Castro government.
what?
But Eisenhower was going to leave office before the
She's
plan
like,
was ready.
man, that's
So
how you heard
Eisenhower
about
handed
us?
that
And
card
I
to
was
John
like,
F. Kennedy. And only a couple months
They're
after
billboards.
getting into
And
office,
she's
the
like,
new kid,
really?
during the learning curve, decided to
Yeah,
go
I
ahead
bet
with
you
the
hear
Eisenhower plan because the CIA says it's good, the military
all
wants
the
to do
time.
it, basically.
You're
So
jinxing.
Kennedy
She's
does
like,
it, and
that's what anyone ever says. You're like the first person to say anything.
Kennedy took a ton of personal heat for not stepping in.
Really? It's like, well, I know about it from, but that's the thing that stuck out in my mind. Why? Well, they have simple billboard design and stuff, but
He was trying to preserve
and it's good because you see it with a K as opposed to just hearing it with a K. But what?
The Chinese and Soviets have been trying to preserve
We had similar billboard purchasing strategies you could find. They bought remnant boards and some other things, but it was like,
biographers, though, assert
I just remember her being very surprised, like, oh my god, somebody saw a billboard. She said, do you remember exactly where? I was like, yeah, it was on the corner of, it was very close to the corner of Lakewood and Artesia and Bellflower House. I was just like, that's very, I know. Anything I was like, I could tell you this was a poster, but what they considered to be a remnant poster board. It was
a highly publicized and used for his political gain story, but it was essentially true.
It was down the street from a Norm's. That Norm's yeah.
Man by his life
Alright, are you done, Norm's guns?
with the rope attached
This
to the
video?
life vest
Wait, this
as he
following
swam 2
at
islands
Disneyland
miles
Resort?
away. See that Harvard swim team.
What the fuck is this shit?
Comes in handy.
Didn't I just fucking do this?
Being a lowly lieutenant,
What is this
sort
fucking
of on the
bullshit?
ground on the scene, taught him how out of touch
This is the most fucking bullshit fucking up fuck.
Washington
God damn it,
were with the
motherfuckers.
realities of what the troops were dealing with. And that attitude, a common soldier's attitude on the ground, by the way,
What the
was
fuck?
reinforced after the Bay of Pigs
Oh my
disaster.
Christ.
When he
You're telling me
got
I have to go
advice
through all of
from the
these?
CIA
Show
and
the
military
thread.
advisors that he
Please,
thought
dear Christ, show me, just like allow me to click on that thing.
that in one sense
Oh
it
no.
was.
What
But
the
that doesn't mean
fuck? Stop. Stop.
Kennedy would be shattered by what happened at the Bay of Pigs. He was
No
supposed to
way.
be crying afterwards. He was out of sorts for a long time.
This is the
Advisors
dumbest
told him to
fucking
catch him
system
staring
I've
off into
ever seen.
space, saying,
Really?
"How could I have been so stupid?" Biographer Robert writes,
People are just dumb.
"How could I have been so stupid?" was his way of asking why he had been so gullible. He puzzled over the fact that he had not asked harder questions and had allowed the so-called collective wisdom of all these experienced
I swear to
national
God, if anybody ever
security
finds out,
officials
I'm gonna
to
figure out
persuade him to go
you
ahead.
motherfuckers are gonna rue the day that I fucking showed up. I'm gonna be like, you're an asshole if you fucking work here. Why? Ever use your fucking product? Fuck you.
end quote. The experience taught him, quote, never to rely on the experts, end quote. He told journalist Ben Bradley, quote,
Kids, don't ever forget,
the first
if the
advice
service
I'm
was
going to give
free,
my
you
successor
are the
is
product.
to watch the generals
Yes.
and to avoid feeling that just because they were
Facebook,
military men,
Twitter,
their
all that
opinions
shit,
on
generally
military
free,
matters were worth
that
a
means
damn.
you're the product. That means they're selling your information, kids. Really? Oh, for
You
sure.
know, it's tempting to say that there was some luck here, historically speaking, that Kennedy got this lesson reinforced at such an early time in his career before things really heated up and the stakes really got high. Because only a few months into his career, Kennedy has decided that you have to be skeptical of expert advice sometimes. In this case, though, his acceptance of an Eisenhower-type plan made him look a lot more like the previous administration. And this happening right before the meeting with Nikita Khrushchev put the whole kibosh on the honeymoon between Kennedy and Khrushchev, as though one spouse had cheated on the other after only a couple of months of marriage, and if anybody was likely to do that, well, John F. Kennedy. Nonetheless, he went into this summit right after the Bay of Pigs fiasco to meet Khrushchev eye to eye. And every book you will ever read on the subject, no one can resist, and we won't either, obviously, the visual and background comparison of these two guys when they get together. Could you find two more unlike people from their physical differences? I mean, John F. Kennedy's could have been he's the glamour president in terms of looks and charm and all that kind of thing, and he's like the money man. I mean, he's a propaganda stock character if you're doing this for the Soviet newsreels. I mean, he's the money man from the Monopoly game. And Khrushchev is a peasant, but he's one of these
Who's the money man
peasants
from
who's
Monopoly game?
sneaky and survivor.
Daddy
He takes
Warbucks?
great pride
That's like-
in being able to outwit people who should know better than he does. He has no real formal
Paul
education.
Warburg? Yeah, Warburg.
He has, however,
Yeah.
a background in life that is formidable. Zubok and Pleshikov described the two men's first face-to-face meeting
Are you done, though?
at
Hey,
Vienna
man.
Summit,
Are you done?
starting on June 3rd and ending on June 4th, 1961. This
Where's your
way.
Vanderbilt?
Khrushchev met with Kennedy in Vienna as a prima donna meeting with a first-time starlet. I heard you were a young and promising man, Khrushchev greeted the
I just tell you right
43-year-old
now, it's from
president.
the CIA.
The difference in age was almost a quarter of a century. This
Intergeneration
generation
CIA.
gap grows into
But
an
one of them
abyss
still at it.
if one thinks of all the milestones of Russian history, as well as the personal experience that had
I will
shaped
never forget,
Khrushchev, and of which
it was
Kennedy
at
had
some
only a
holiday.
limited understanding.
My
The
mother
only
says
two links
to
between
my
the
aunt,
leaders were World War II
now, I
and
heard
the
about
nuclear
this,
polarization of the
and
Cold
it was
War.
always like a rumor, but it was like she just squared up and
Khrushchev
said
had
to her,
already decided after the Bay of Pigs fiasco
hey,
that Kennedy was
the
weaker
rumor is
than
that
Eisenhower, something he could have
President
probably
Johnson,
assumed.
President Lyndon
But now
Baines
he
Johnson,
detected
wrote a
something.
book, and he wrote the dedication to you
He put his theory to the test.
for something that you
For 2
did
days, he put the hard
during
press
his
on John
administration.
Kennedy.
And she said,
And Kennedy
that's
stumbled.
true, but she couldn't talk about it. That was true.
He came in with a lot of proposals that sounded just like the kind of guy Khrushchev was looking for. A typically first-year president with all the idealism that comes with it, and the sort of understated implied idea that surely reasonable people can sit down and settle our differences, and ran into a buzzsaw. Kennedy described the experience to James Reston of the New York Times. He said that the summit meeting had, quote, been the roughest thing in my life. He just beat the hell out of me. I've got a terrible problem if he thinks I'm inexperienced and have no guts. Until we remove those ideas, we won't get anywhere with him. End quote. Khrushchev said Kennedy was too intelligent and too weak. Once again, when you read the history books on this, it's amazing how many of them use poker or some sort of strategic game to describe the situation, because there's so much brinkmanship going on, so much bluffing, and so much testing out of your opponent. In this case, Khrushchev, between the Bay of Pigs and this summit, has determined now that he's dealing with a much more immature, as one of his aides said, American leader, far more immature than Eisenhower. And inside the Kremlin's Cold War, they write, quote, After the first day of talks at the Vienna summit, Khrushchev's advisors, who waited for his return in front of the Soviet embassy, asked him about his impressions of Kennedy. Khrushchev waved his hand dismissively. Kennedy, he said, was no match for Eisenhower. He lacked the broad horizons and the statesmanship of the earlier president. But this changed Khrushchev's view of the man and what he could get away with and what he might decide to try, which is exactly what Zubov and Pleshnikov say. Khrushchev told his advisors when some of them said, maybe we should kind of listen to this and maybe that will mean better relations. And Khrushchev told them that the favorable situation must be exploited. In other words, Khrushchev originally went into this whole thing maybe trying to diffuse tensions, saw that he was faced with what he thought was a weak president, a weak player on the other side of the table, couldn't turn down the fabulous opportunity that the roll of the historical dice seemed to have delivered to his side, and so began to play the game the way you would have played it in a pre-nuclear era, the way Machiavelli would have told you to play it. But as Kennedy theorized, when neither side wants war, are likely to have one break out over some miscalculation, Khrushchev was making a dangerous one. I think he was now going to play his hand based on the assumption that that's the kind of man he was competing against. What happens when that gaming strategy runs smack dab into the fact that you have misjudged your opponent, perhaps apocalyptically so?
Attention I-10 freeway
Part
drivers.
3.
Freeway and ramp closures are coming up for the I-10 Express Lanes project. Don't get stuck. For dates and detours,
The people from the Bertrand Russell side of the evolve to deal with technology debate would say that the problem here is the game itself is too dangerous because it involves brinkmanship. That's how it's played. That's why everyone, including me, compares it to a game. The rules were laid out very openly by U.S. Secretary of State John Foster Dulles in the middle 1950s when he said, quote, "The ability to get to the verge without getting into the war is the necessary art. If you cannot master it, you inevitably get into a war. If you try to run away from it, if you're scared to go to the brink, you're lost." End quote. But when the brink is Armageddon, how often can you go to the brink and know you're not going to tumble over the edge? Kennedy will come into office as like the dream candidate for the defense intellectuals at places like the Rand Corporation, because he will bring in people that think that the Rand people have it right. Kennedy will bring in people from outside the government structure. His defense secretary will be a guy who headed up Ford Motor Company. So you're bringing in some of the business people to take a new look at all this and say, we've been doing it this way for a long time. Is this the way we should do it? And a lot of those people, like Robert McNamara, the defense secretary, thought those ideas that the Rand people were pushing about, like a bunch of different cards and you have to play them strategically, sounded logical. The Kennedy administration is famous for one of the biggest changes in all of nuclear history. It was something called flexible response. Traditionally, you go from Eisenhower's massive retaliation to Kennedy's flexible response. I used to be a little bit better talking about this before I read some of the newer books by people like Francis J. Gavin that basically say something like flexible response was much more for PR than what it really was on the ground. The idea that you could tell the people in the nuclear battlefield in Europe, hey, don't worry, we won't go to nuclear weapons at the very first option, had all sorts of benefits, whereas Kennedy and Eisenhower and Truman all kind of thought that if nuclear war breaks out, everybody's going to use everything they have anyway. This game of being able to throw a few bombs out there, stop and see what happens sounds good in the classroom, but in reality, that's probably not what's going to happen. Nonetheless, that's what they're known for. A new look at the security strategy when it came to using nuclear weapons right at a time when Kennedy's up against a guy who is every bit as good of a bluffer as Eisenhower was. Khrushchev's a fantastic card game player, too. And as historian John Lewis Gaddis points out, he uses rhetoric and bluster and bluff to cover up for his own side's weakness. Because what the United States doesn't know when Kennedy gets into office, talking about a missile gap where the Soviet Union has more missiles than the United States, is that the Soviet Union is woefully unprepared if nuclear war came tomorrow. So when Khrushchev says they're turning out missiles like sausages in Russia, you have no choice but to believe him. The way that the U.S. has been finding out what little they could about what was going on is with these overflights of Russian territory with these amazing high-level reconnaissance planes called U-2 planes. But you have to sort of dart in and dart out real quickly. The radar shows that you're there, but they're flying too high for the Russians to intercept. But they cause international incidents, and eventually they start getting shot down by missiles. And when those pilots fall into Russian hands, you have real international incidents, and that was happening during the Eisenhower administration. But in 1961, Kennedy orders these satellites, which are relatively new, to take a look at the Soviet Union and tell him what they see. And over a period of several months, they look down and they come back, and the experts brief the president and say, they've got like 4 intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they're not even ready to go. They've got these nuclear submarines, but they're all in port. And basically, they come to the conclusion that if you wanted to, all these nuclear problems with the Soviet Union could go away because we could nuke them now and stop them dead in their tracks. It would be over. A preemptive war would solve this catastrophe we all have looming where mankind could be bombed back to the Stone Age. What a tempting idea that would be. And the really attractive part was the potential to knock out the other side's weapons before they could use them, rather than nuke their cities. In other words, like disarming your opponent by shooting the gun out of his hand. That sounds a whole lot better than watching a Holocaust to keep yourself safe, doesn't it? The idea also worked well with some of the policies that the new administration had about using nuclear weapons, something that would be known as the counterforce strategy and the no cities policy. And not for the last time, something that was intended to make people feel more safe about nuclear weapon use had the opposite effect. Kennedy's defense secretary spanned the counterforce idea that now the weapons technology we had would allow the United States to target the weapons of the Soviet Union instead of their cities. The truth is, we could still target their cities, they just wouldn't be the first option. This was supposed to make people in cities think, okay, the United States is a humane country, which it is, and it would never target cities if it didn't have to. And after all, this would return, the battle to the battlefield where it belongs, and they'll only be using them against the military forces of the other side. There were 2 problems with this. One, people quickly realized that makes them much more usable. As horrible as it sounds, the idea that you would kill millions of innocent men, women, and children in these cities is a deterrent. If you think, we'll just use nuclear weapons against soldiers,
I can see how the sun would do that, especially there.
So does that make it a lot easier
Depending on where you're driving, but it's so bright out here. You need to make something in glass, in like smart glass, which becomes like smart glass with like fogs.
The other problem is savvy people realize
glass that doesn't fog needs to become a thing, but and like masks and things with masks and that shit. And glasses, but what else? Defogging. What works? It doesn't work well, but shaving cream on the inside of your windows works a little bit. Yeah, but they also need a thing. Like they have tint for your glasses. They need tint, like automatically tinted when sun does that. Why? It gets to the point where you cannot see in California. I can't. I have cataracts, but even still, I mean, even when you're driving down Sunset Boulevard or Santa Monica Boulevard and it's 5 o'clock and at sunset, there's no way you can fucking see very well. When you're looking, it's like sun. It's like sun and then street, and you're trying to read a fucking traffic light. That's why it's very helpful to have 2 traffic lights that are synced exactly, so that if there's a big truck or something blocking one, you can see another one. Or if one goes down, you can have another one. If you ever are at a light, kids, and the light is down, it becomes a stoplight. Well, if it's a 4. Anyway, speaking of, we had 3 ways. Head of 3? No.
people would
Shout
start
to
talking
also
about
Walls
the
Very
atomic
first
bomb
year.
because if both sides
Yeah, I mean, it
had a
wasn't
doomsday device,
considered.
eventually the Soviets would
But
have something called the dead hand.
we just basically slept
Saddam
with
Hussein
a
Russia
bunch of
now
people.
powering it,
And
which is we really don't want to have to kill you after you've killed us, but it might prevent you
I
from
was a
killing
little
us in the
schooner, I
first place if
remember
we do have
that.
something
Yeah.
like that.
What else?
This whole question of how you deter the other side and the
I
weirdness of the entire mental construct
and your
of
sister
nuclear
Carmel,
deterrence,
she's cool.
is going to enter the Doctor Strangelove
what?
phase of weirdness during this era, where they will have
Oh,
debates over
this
whether
sign
or
by the
not
university. We stole the
should
sign that said
ever
3-way. It
respond
was the last sign I
with a
think I've
nuclear
ever seen
response
ever
if
to this
deterrence
day
fails.
that I've ever seen that says 3-way.
Herman
It's
Kahn,
just a sign that said
who's also
3-way.
associated with
And
the corporation,
it was one of the most difficult signs we ever had to get. And it just is a little sign, just like this big, and it said 3-way.
Talk about the red
That was like
button,
a fucking cool sign. Yeah.
nuclear launch
It
button.
was the last one I've ever seen like that.
And he will say that people
I mean,
will
let me
have
even
real
see if they have make them.
discussions about whether or not
Like, you
that
can buy
button
them, I'm
should
sure.
actually be connected to anything. Now he says it's important that the other side thinks it's connected to something. But the idea was that if somehow nuclear deterrence failed and the other side launched their nuclear missiles at you, the humane thing to do would be to not respond.
Yeah,
Right?
so they
You
do make
lost the
them.
war
So, like, what does it look?
There's no reason
3-way.
to
It's
kill
a sign
them
like
too.
that. 3-way. It was right by the university, and it was the last one like that,
Now, I should
and it was
point
really
out,
hard to
Herman
get, and we
Kahn
fucking
did
got
not
it.
feel that
But
way.
it
He definitely
was
thought the button should be
bitch to
connected
get
to
it.
something.
Yeah,
Nonetheless,
that's
he
why
was
I've been there
sort
for
of
so
showing
long.
us the kinds of conversations that these theorists are having, right? The sort of questions that will come up. They're academic in nature, theoretical, until they're not.
So this might be a kind of stop sign too. When it's a 3-way stop, it might say on it "stop 3-way," but there would be a thing on it so that you couldn't steal them. They'd have like a satellite thing to connect on them, and it would be really difficult to steal them. Really, yeah, you really couldn't. But why? Because it would have like a sensor on it that was solar, and if that sensor got disconnected or it could tell that it got moved, it would send the police there. It would be very easy for that to happen.
Soviet tanks over the dividing line between East Berlin and
But
West
don't ever
Berlin.
steal
And then the
stop signs,
Soviets
kids.
will put up
That's
a
not
wall
cool.
to stop
If I see a
flying
stop
in,
sign
the whole thing becomes a
on someone's
nightmarish
wall,
disaster. And
I think you're an asshole.
problems are
Somebody can die that way. If you steal this 3-way sign, we didn't steal the stop sign. It was just like a little sign under it, and it wasn't anything great. We never stole any signs that we felt that were really was gonna really kill someone. We stole a slippery when wet sign, but it was like,
both because if you're going to have tension skyrocket, well, you gotta
no,
make
they
sure
don't. That's why
that
it
your
was a sign.
deterrence remains credible, and that
Anyway.
means testing. At the same time,
It wasn't one of those signs that was. It was like in English. It wasn't. It wasn't like the one with the skiddy tires that looked like the curvy road ahead.
That's sending a message because
It's a
if you
lot,
haven't
though.
figured out whether it works or not
Yeah,
after the
God, it does.
91st test, you're just playing around. The Soviets have their own way of rattling sabers. They like really, really big
Who's
sabers.
the hottest girl you ever did at the
Khrushchev
university?
tells
And did you ever did? No, I worked with her, so there was no doing anything with her. She was. I don't remember her name. She's beautiful,
That was 15
and
megatons.
she's a pretty school you ever went to university.
When you try to figure out megatons, I
But
know
you guys never hung out
repetition,
or anything.
but
Why?
the power grows exponentially. You can't
My
just say
friends
it's
were
30 megatons instead of
athletes
15,
who were
so it's
younger
twice as powerful.
and
It
would
doesn't
not go to
work,
bars, but
especially
she was
things like
older
thermal
and went to bars and
radiation,
really.
which is highly underrated. I just read a whole book on that says for the entire time nuclear weapons have been around, everyone has underestimated the most dangerous part of
You
it,
don't
which is the
remember
fires that they start.
No,
Because they're hard to
she's so
measure.
hot.
So you don't study those, you study the blast.
She's just
Scary as
really
they are,
beautiful.
that's all based on
There's this
plasma.
other girl with whom I worked.
According
Well,
to
for a
Lynn
second,
Lee, they're
she,
probably
I think
many
takes over for the
times more
position my
deadly
mom
than that once
has
fire's
when my
taken
mom
into
retired
account.
eventually. And this lady's really hot.
Andrei
Yeah,
Sakharov is
she worked
supposed to
there
have had
for
with
2 days
Khrushchev and
on the
Oppenheimer
10th floor.
Truman,
I heard she wasn't very
a
smart.
moment where
Not
the
saying that she's
physicist,
not.
the real deep thinker who's thinking
I
about
was
the
like,
ramifications of
oh
his
my god, I'm saying to other
goes
women,
to
have you seen
Khrushchev
how
to
hot
try
that
to
girl is on the 10th
tell
floor?
him
and
Maybe
they're
we
like,
should
"Well,
make 100
I don't know if
megaton
she's.
bomb.
You
Remember,
think
it might
she's
take
pretty?"
a
I'm like,
lot
"Oh my
more
god, that
guts for
girl's so
someone to do it
fucking
in
hot."
that system
And I heard
than in, say, the United States
one
context.
of
Because
them said
before
something like,
Khrushchev
"Well, then
was
she's
Stalin,
probably not very
and telling
smart."
Stalin
Why?
something like this
It
could be
was
bad
something
for
like,
her health. So already you see that it's a much more open situation. But
what was it?
Sakharov goes to
I don't know.
Khrushchev
They
and
were just
says,
making it being a
maybe we
bitch.
should
I just said
explode
this
this
girl's
bomb.
weird. Why? Because this girl is very
Jeopardize
smart and
future
she's
relations
super hot
and
too.
test ban treaties that
Very,
we
very good.
unofficially,
Really, yeah.
having worked
And
for
what?
us, gets told this by Khrushchev.
She only
Leave
worked there for
politics
2
to
days,
us. We're the
and then
specialists. We have to
I think
conduct
she
our
went to a
policies from a
different
position
department or
of
something.
strength.
So maybe she wasn't good in that role, and she would be really good in another role or something like that.
I'd be a
But
jellyfish,
I think
not chairman of the
she's
council
super
of
hot. If
ministers
she's not
if I
smart,
listen
I
to
will
people like
personally shoot her.
Sakharov.
Woman, gorgeous.
And
Yeah.
of course, anyone who grew up in that era will note automatically that that's exactly the sort of thing we here in the U.S. would have said about the Soviets. Can't be a jellyfish in front of them. In other words, Khrushchev understands the way it's all played, just as Eisenhower did. I mean, these people would make Machiavelli's honor list. They're good at the game they play, but the game is different. And Sakharov at least manages to talk Khrushchev down from a 100 megaton bomb to a 50 megaton one. Because if all you really are trying to do here is rattle a big saber, 50 megatons is as big as anybody would want, even for intimidation purposes. Now, slightly over 50 megatons might have been just about half what Khrushchev wanted, but as John Lewis Gaddis writes, quote, even so, it was big enough. The single largest blast human beings had ever detonated, or have since, on the planet. The flash was visible 600 miles away. The fireball, now quoting somebody who saw it, quote, was powerful and arrogant, like Jupiter.
I wonder
It
if I
seemed to
use
suck
four
the
music
whole
videos
earth
and
into
then
it.
better.
End quote. And Gaddis continues. The mushroom cloud rose 40 miles into the stratosphere. The island over which the explosion took place was literally leveled, not only of snow, but also of rocks, so that it looked to one observer like an immense skating rink. The entire spectacle was, quote, fantastic, unreal, supernatural, end quote. One estimate calculated, Gaddis writes, on the basis of this test, that if Khrushchev's full 100 megaton bomb had been used instead, the resulting firestorm would have engulfed an area the size of the state of Maryland. End quote. Surely nobody would ever use a weapon like that, but calculations can go awry. With the ramping up of tension during the 1961-62 period, Khrushchev attempted to do something that if this were really a board game, the kind I used to enjoy playing when I was younger,
The future is white.
or a complicated version of something like Risk, would have been an awesome move. But with the stakes of something like
Indian
Tsar
chicks like
Bomba and Castle Bravo and all
white
these
guys.
multi-megaton bombs involved, it's hard to see how people could justify the worst-case scenario. But under the pre-nuclear rules, Khrushchev makes a move that is so bold that there are quite a few people that think this is the kind of thing that gave him a reputation as a gambler, that got him in trouble after this period with the
What
other
did you
people
think
in
this was?
Russian
I honestly
leadership
thought
who
it
had
was like
some say
face
in the
creams
matter,
and shit to make
because there
people
was
look
a
whiter.
recklessness to it. But my goodness, if we were really watching a game instead of life, you have to admire the chutzpah. When nobody's looking, a bunch of problems he's got in one fell swoop by secretly beginning to put nuclear weapons onto the island of Cuba. In many ways, it's a brilliant idea, but it all hinges on a single, very slender reed, and you can see why maybe his cohorts thought him a gambler or reckless, because that reed was, you've got to be able to get the missiles into Cuba and activated, ready to go, before the U.S. knows they're there. Because if the U.S. finds out, the entire plan falls apart. And when the stakes are global thermonuclear war, how are you comfortable hinging a plan on such a narrow, slender reed? that it's not like the U.S. isn't paying attention. There's been a conventional arms buildup going on in Cuba now for months, so the U.S. is watching. It's become a political issue. There were midterm elections in November. Back in September, only about a month and a half ago, the rumblings were so loud about possible nuclear weapons that Kennedy issued a public statement showing strength and resolve, typical Cold War rhetoric, and drew a line in the sand and told the Soviets there would be the most grave ramifications if anyone did anything like that. And then Kennedy went publicly and privately to the Soviet diplomats and said, now, you're not putting offensive weapons there, right? And they go, oh, no, we're not doing no offensive weapons at all. So you can imagine how he felt. And you can also imagine how much gasoline has now accrued around this situation when Kennedy finds out that he's been lied to, and that his opponents have charged him with being naive and saying you're putting the country's security at risk and the Soviets are going to put nuclear weapons on that island. When he finds out that that's exactly what they've done, there's a reason that this crisis begins at such an intense level from the very first minute, and that's because the stage is set for it. On October 16th in the morning of 1962, Kennedy's advisors bring him photographs. The photographs show the construction of missile sites underway in Cuba. The U.S. had been watching weird activity involving Russian handlers offloading ships. I mean, there was suspicion, but these U-2 photos confirmed everyone's worst fears, and that's that within a very short period of time, Kennedy's CIA advisors thought maybe within a week you were going to have operational missiles 90 miles or so off the U.S. coast. The minute that Kennedy realizes the reality of what he's looking at, the dynamic starts. In the back of your head, a mental stopwatch should begin ticking, because the pressures will start to mount instantaneously. Many historians point out that Kennedy was handing out a best-selling book to his subordinates during this period, and you probably read it. It was Barbara Tuchman's The Guns of August. It's a book, of course, that deals with the run-up to the First World War, and it's really about a dynamic. And at the beginning of the dynamic, you have decision-makers who are in charge of making moves on the great chessboard, and they have some control, and they do things, but then somewhere along the way, all of the forces and elements involved begin to turn the decision-makers into historical passengers as well, or just along for the ride and find the range of their possible decisions and moves so curtailed that at times they appear to have no good options. Kennedy was fascinated by this dynamic, apparently, and thought he saw elements of it come into play over Berlin already. Now he was about to take part in something very similar, although from a time constraint, that run-up to the First World War took a month, and everybody thought they had no time to react. Kennedy was going to have nowhere near a month, because the move by Khrushchev to put missiles in Cuba makes the next move of the United States is if they don't do anything, whatever Khrushchev is up to progresses farther. The U.S. has to do something, and they don't know how long they have to do it. The fog of war will drive this crisis dynamic, because right away, the first thing everyone wants to know is, are any of these missiles anywhere ready to be fired? And we found those missile sites, but what missile sites haven't we found? Are there warheads on the island? How many? Is there more stuff on the way? But to accompany these critical uncertainties is one thing that U.S. policymakers know for sure. But that is that every moment you wait, the situation is getting worse, regardless of what it might be now on the ground in Cuba. We don't know that, but we know it'll be worse for us tomorrow. That puts an incredible time pressure on all these events. The attitude is that even if you sleep, things are getting worse. So the need to move and do something is exerting a huge force on the people who have to make these decisions in a way that solves the problem without creating a bigger problem. In this case, the bigger problem would be World War III. And as the president will have to remind his advisors, the other side has a hostage. What if they decide to kill their hostage if we do something to solve
anyway,
our problem?
learn something new every day, kids. Boost Indians. That's the thing.
As Kennedy will also point out to his
Really?
advisors, Trading Cuba for West Berlin is not a good trade, and the Europeans definitely wouldn't think it was a
I
good
did
trade.
not know that was a thing. I thought it had to do with some kind of bleaching skin thing, which also becomes a thing. Really?
Kennedy calls them
You wanted two kids, anything to become a thing. Huh?
It's really just a group of hand-picked national security advisors.
Yeah. Are there darkeners? Yeah, I guess you could.
Voices that you want to hear from, including the Attorney General, who happens to be his younger brother, Robert. That's his favorite advisor. I think it was like 13 of them.
Have cameras.
They convened the first meeting before
Yeah, are you done
noon on October 16th, and they will begin to
now?
discuss how you react to Khrushchev's move.
Oh man,
Balls in
it's
the
47
U.S. is
minutes.
court here. What do? And at one point, Kennedy will remind the participants that we're talking about the potential for strikes
Hey,
on
speaking
American
of, are you
cities
just
that
you
could
retailing?
create 80 to
Like, no,
100
like, are you
million
sure?
casualties. He says you're talking about the
Oh
destruction
my
of the
god,
country.
no one gives a shit.
Many casualties elsewhere in the world. Has there ever been a more important series of conversations? Ever? But if you're in a position like John F. Kennedy is in this situation, with that kind of responsibility hanging over your head and the judgment of history, to deal with which you want to cover your ass. Somehow, Kennedy, telling any of the participants in the XCOM meetings, taped them. His brother may have known, but no one else did. About 10 years later, when this all came out and we found out that several presidents found taping systems useful, you can see why. It upset some of the participants in the XCOM meetings who felt a little betrayed. At the same time, it's like a gift from the gods for historians. Because you can be a fly on the wall. I mean, literally hearing the secondary conversations in the coffin and the people coming and going through the door as though you're there. When at least one side in this crisis period that will last almost 2 weeks is making the most important decisions in world history. And what's crazy when you listen to it is it's a combination of boring monotony that could put you to sleep and subject matter that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Because it sounds like an office meeting even during the most stressful periods. Nobody's screaming and yelling. It sounds like a traditional business meeting at a board of directors. But when you listen to what they're saying, at one point, I mean, they'll be talking about casualties that are at Second World War levels in an afternoon. With stakes that high, you would love to wish in a perfect world that was the only thing decision makers took into account. How do we avoid casualties on that scale of destruction? That apocalyptic, but it wasn't the only thing on their minds on either side. It's funny because it's been more than 50 years now. Back on this, we kind of have that man from Mars perspective, because all of the individual concerns of the era have faded in importance, right? It's not our day-to-day existence. We have our own concerns. The only concern from that period that matters to us now is that they avoid World War III, because imagine how different
They don't
times
fucking
would be. And
I don't
they
think they
failed.
used to, but like
But for
they're
them,
all the basic
there's a slew of things acting upon their choices.
Are you done though?
Very
Being
big
done.
things. And very small
Yeah,
things, at least from a man from Mars perspective. I mean, some of this is driven by John F. Kennedy's political reality in the November midterm elections. That seems nuts today. If something like that had influenced, how global thermonuclear wars history turned out, can you imagine what the verdict of history would be?
I'm a pro.
Nonetheless, this is why those
You
people,
want it?
like
Are you
Albert
done?
Einstein's, questioned our ability to live with these weapons while still playing the game under the old rules. Because you get into situations like this, and once you do, you can't always get out. After a day or two, Kennedy's considering 4 options to deal with the construction sites in Cuba. Option number 1 is an airstrike against them. Option number 2 is a general series of airstrikes across the island, a much bigger affair. It would help you deal with all the unknowns. That would help get rid of the defenses so that when you had to fly over more times, it would be easier. Option number 3 is a blockade, and the U.S. Navy surround the island and say, we don't know how many nuclear weapons and missiles are on the island, but we're not letting anything more in. Option number 4 is a general invasion of Cuba by the U.S. military. Now, while he's considering these options, things get worse. This is also part of the crisis dynamic, but I think you're on top of the current situation where you have these medium-range nuclear weapons in Cuba because they measured the size of the launching pad areas and they figured out these are for medium-range weapons. And all of a sudden they find more missile construction sites as they fly over with more U-2 reconnaissance planes. And these are built for bigger missiles. They're going to be what are called intermediate-range ballistic missiles now on the island too, which will reach almost all of the United States. The Soviets don't have a ton of the missiles that can go from Russian territory to American territory, but they have a ton of the medium-range stuff that's been threatening Europe for a decade now. That's what they're moving into Cuba, as one military advisor will say, giving them a quantum leap in terms of their ability to nuke the United States. Kennedy pointed out, though, that this is a temporary thing. They're building these missiles. Every day they can reach from Russia to the United States in a matter of time. It doesn't really matter if the missile that destroys Washington, D.C. started in
There'd also be a
Moscow
suit
or
that
Havana.
had a gyroscope in it, and it knew when you're on a motorcycle or something like that,
But it ratchets
or
up
like
the
base
pressure.
jumping or any of that kind of crazy shit.
Eventually,
That
Kennedy
when
decides
something was wrong and you were no longer on a motorcycle, or right before you were gonna hit the ground, it knew, and it would explode, like inflate, I should say, and it would inflate like one of those things that protect you. It'd be like that big.
he's essentially going to throw the
Then I
car
might do all
down
kinds
and tell
of things.
Khrushchev it's his plane now.
Yeah. Would you beat off under your covers?
The problem with such a move is that it does nothing to deal with the missiles that are already on the island and that everyone's facing this crushing time problem and pressure with because no one knows when they're going to be operational. What do you do about those? Kennedy wanted to take them out, but he can't figure out how to do it without potentially prompting World War III. I mean, there's Russians working on those weapons. What if you kill them too? How many Russians can you kill in an airstrike and not prompt World War III? Or just the taking of Berlin, which would do the same thing.
There's the two best guys.
On October 19th, Kennedy goes into a meeting with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, his big military advisors, the heads of the Army, the Air Force, the Marines,
Are
the
you guys
Navy,
there?
and tells them his
Are you
plan
done?
to do a blockade with no airstrikes. And all of a sudden, it's apparent that you have a huge
Are you
problem
done?
on your hands because the military disagrees. And I don't think we're going too far out on a limb to say that it looks a little like what you were seeing at the end of the Truman administration with the strains they had. Who controls this stuff and where the lines of demarcation between civilian and military control are. Seems like things took a hiatus for 2 terms of Eisenhower, the general president, and now with the kid who screwed up the Bay of Pigs and screwed up the Vienna summit. I mean, the weakling. This is how the military looked at this guy. This one admiral on the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I think, said he was a skipper for a small patrol boat. I mean, they didn't respect him, and he was starting to not respect them very much. And when they heard his plan was a blockade with no strikes against the missile bases that were already under construction,
Change your fucking hair for this.
they pushed back hard. The pushback was led by Air Force General Curtis LeMay. And as many of Kennedy's biographers indicate, Kennedy seemed a bit intimidated by LeMay, but who wouldn't be? Author Michael Dobbs writes of LeMay, quote, anecdotes about LeMay became the stuff of Air Force legend. Crude and petulant, he used to show his contempt for his colleagues on the Joint Chiefs of Staff by belching loudly and leaving the door open when he visited their private toilet. When a crew chief asked him to extinguish his ever-present cigar to avoid igniting an explosion on board a fully fueled bomber, LeMay growled, "It wouldn't dare." Asked for a policy recommendation on Cuba, he replied simply, "Fry it."
And what is he? You know, Blues Brothers,
This is what it's like
Francis
to be a fly on the wall. Curtis LeMay tells President Kennedy that he needs to be invading Cuba right now.
Uncle Tom is all like Johnson and Chase and those. John Cana's to the yeah.
That's a shot right there by LeMay, and everyone in the room would know it was. President Kennedy's dad was often tarred and feathered, being associated with the British appeasement policy of Hitler. That's what LeMay was accusing Kennedy of. Contentious 45 President leaves the room, and the military advisors begin talking about not knowing that Kennedy's been taping the meeting, and the tape hasn't stopped. That's all on tape too.
Like who you see?
This is the way historians show us the defense secretary and the person leaving McNamara and Taylor departed, leaving LeMay, Shoup, and Wheeler behind to talk as the door closed. Away, they believe, from prying ears, the remaining chiefs voiced their disdain for civilian control of the military and left little doubt who they thought should be in charge of military decision-making. The hidden tape recorder, of course.
These kind of continuous elevators. This is like a Shabbat elevator. These kind of elevators are good things. And they wouldn't hurt you.
One is keeping the United States safe. The other is making sure that if the worst case scenario happens, what President Kennedy calls the final failure of nuclear war, the job of these generals and military leaders is just beginning. They have to win the nuclear war. So everybody's trying to do the same thing.
Could it happen?
The
Yes.
president is pretty sure that he follows the advice of the military leaders. He's going to get you more through the military leaders. Kennedy continues on the course. He's
This guy's
on.
a thing. How do you do?
And the U.S. is going to be at a disadvantage when fighting it.
We've seen this before. You're Bezimov. How do you
After
undermine
the president told his
a
aide
country?
Dave
Take over
Powers
its
that he was
education.
stunned by LeMay's cocky certainty that Khrushchev would do nothing if the U.S. bombed the missile sites and killed a lot of Russians. Quote, these brass hats have one great advantage in their favor, JFK fumed. If we listen to them and do what they want us to do, none of us will be alive later to tell them that they were wrong. All the modern historians will say that the XCOM tapes have changed the way this crisis has been viewed. It's amazingly clear, though, that John F. Kennedy, like Eisenhower and Truman before him, but from a much more difficult position maybe, pushed back against, in this case, unanimous military opposition. Joint Chiefs of Staff were unanimous that Kennedy's idea of a blockade with no airstrikes was bad. His ex-com advisors, his civilian advisors who fluctuated in their views and changed, were mostly sure that Kennedy was being far too weak. And when he finally informed a few members of Congress, two of the biggest bigwigs in his own Democratic Party said, "Are you crazy? You can't just do that." Nothing's more along the lines of what the military wanted to do. This 45-year-old guy defied all. Every time I start thinking that individuals don't matter in history, I remind myself that there are examples like this where the odds-on favorite thing to do would be to have a president follow the advice of his military advisors. All it might have taken for things to go sideways is for somebody to act. It's a little hard to believe, isn't it? You know, at this point in the story, things are getting very scary. The world is unaware of this. The Russians themselves are not completely sure what's going on in the United States. Kennedy has one of his people hand a note to the Russian ambassador explaining what's about to happen, and then goes on national television to tell the world that the United States has found nuclear missiles in Cuba. This is a big problem. The Soviets had gotten word a couple of hours before Kennedy's speech that it was major, that it was going to have to do with Cuba. And at that point, the Soviet leadership got together, and his diplomat Vasily Kuznetsov pointed out, quote, Khrushchev shit his pants.
What in the fuck?
Because all of a sudden it was clear that that slender little reed upon which he had built this audacious rapid scale of his, the part about the United States not finding out about the missiles until they were operational, that slender reed broke. And as Alexander Versenko and Timothy Naftali write, Khrushchev let the frustration moment show. To the men in front of him, most of whom had experienced the Russian Civil War, and all of whom had endured the Second World War and survived Stalin, Khrushchev bared his soul. It is tragic, he said. They had come so close to having a deterrent force in Cuba, so close to making this kind of a nightmare unimaginable. Now, not only was a U.S. invasion impossible, but so was a nuclear exchange involving the Soviet Union. Nevertheless, Khrushchev was determined to show us all.
Quit being a bitch.
They can attack us, he said, and we shall respond. Articulating what was on everyone's mind and all this may end in a big war. Kennedy told the world speech
I like how
said he was going to
check me.
which they call quarantine, because blockade is
I am for you, bro.
quarantine of the Germans. Then asked Khrushchev in a global forum, as the world was now awakening to the fact they were in the middle of a potential thermonuclear crisis, to step back from the brink and try to look for the future with Armageddon.
I call upon Chairman Khrushchev to halt and eliminate clandestine, reckless, and provocative threats of world peace and to stable relations between our two nations. I call upon him further to abandon this course of world domination and to join in his historic efforts to end the perilous arms race and to transform the history of man. He has an opportunity now to pull the world back from the abyss of destruction by returning to his government's full word that it had no need to station missiles outside its own territory and withdrawing these weapons from Cuba, by refraining from any actions which were wide or deep in the present crisis, and then by participating in a surge, peaceful, permanent solution.
Before Kennedy's even done speaking,
I don't know.
Strategic Air Command alert status to DEFCON 3. Bombers in the air, which they kind of do all the time anyway to a degree, but everything begins to go on heightened alert. Ships into the Caribbean. There's already maneuvers underway with the very suspicious code name of, well, it's Castro spelled backwards. I wonder how many people that fit. And the mechanisms of war that Barbara Tuxedo would have recognized as beginning to shift into gear in 1914 as the wheels begin to ground toward that particular blueprint for Armageddon. Things begin to follow a parallel path. On October 22nd, 1962, Kennedy's speech to the world did two things, pretty much instantaneous. The first thing was confirmed what the Soviets were already suspecting. That's that the U.S. had found their missiles. Speech did was in one fell swoop inform the world that there might be a nuclear war in the very near future. And I'm fascinated by this. I tried to figure out some sort of analogy for something that might be as disruptive, every single day should pile on the pressure to our civilizational framework, keep society together as a nuclear war during the
Rabbi
Kennedy administration.
No. How don't you have his fucking
Do
number?
the same thing. Well, the same thing would do the same
I
thing.
did.
You found out this week there might be a nuclear war, be a very similar test case scenario, I would think. the only other thing I could think of maybe that we compare in terms of potentially shaking the foundations upon which we don't run out in the street and smash each other in the head with a bottle. If the aliens showed up, right? If like in all those movies, the giant, multi-football field size spacecraft park themselves over our cities, I think the same sort of shaking us to our civilizational foundational roots would happen. Nonetheless, if you thought you might not wake up tomorrow, and most other people around you are having the same sort of thought, how does that change things on the ground in your little world? How does that impact the water cooler discussions at work the next day? How does that change your travel plans for the near future? I mean, there are plans, for example, even for the most important in the society. Take the president for his family to get out of Dodge in case nuclear war happens. Jackie Kennedy will famously say she didn't want to be evacuated. She wanted to, and if it was going to happen, she wanted to die with the children in Washington with the president. Now, there were your plans. And once again, this shows you how real this is. What to do to get the president out of the White House if he's in the White House when the White House is nuked. You'll go in there apparently with acetylene torches and get him out and then bundle him into a radiation suit real quick, Michael Dobbs says, and then hustle him into a helicopter for evacuation. But it gives you an idea of the stakes here and what people are forced to contemplate. Like Bertrand Russell and those other scientists had said, imagine your family dying in front of you agonizingly while you yourself do, and everyone you know in your community. These are thoughts that people almost never have. I would also suggest that there's a huge difference between when people worry about a true nuclear war versus our main worry today in the 21st century when it comes to nuclear war. A lone attack by a terrorist group, so a single bomb goes off in a single city, and that would be a nightmarish disaster, don't get me wrong. But it won't shake the foundations of the society because the entire society will then turn and help that place deal. But what if it's 12 cities at once that get nuked? Or, in the case of the nuclear war plan, right now in 1962, Moscow is slated for like 100 nuclear weapons on that city alone. So you wonder how long it is before society turns into one of those, sort of a dog-eat-dog, and everybody starts, pulling out their stored ammunition and their canned goods, and people start thinking there's nothing to live for, so I'm not going into work tomorrow. I mean, when does it start to break down under the pressure? In the U.S., lots of Army units, I think I read that it was the biggest in the country, amassing troops since the Second World War begins to move down to Florida in case they're needed for a Cuban invasion. All the food and all the canned goods start sweeping off the shelves. I mean, there's a lot of people quoted who remember this time period as the will we be alive next week time period. Bob Dylan famously said he was going to work quickly on the song he was writing at the time because he was worried he wouldn't be able to finish it. He wanted to get as much down on paper before tomorrow. Maybe the most poignant line I've ever heard in the missile crisis, as it's called, was Secretary of State Ted Rusk when his aide dropped him off and said, "See you in the morning." This according to Sheldon Stern, by the way. And then Rusk, who's this really unflappable, sort of emotionally stable guy, said, "I hope so. See you in the morning. I hope so." And the aide said, "I didn't think about it at the time, but he's just contemplating it later." For that guy, he said, and I'm quoting here, that was the emotional equivalent of screaming. The first major crisis moment appears right after the U.S. establishes this quarantine with their ships, and the first of the Soviet ships approaches. There's like 24 of them, and the world is now glued to this in real time. I'm not sure there's ever been anything like this in the coverage of news, where you're waiting on street corners for the next edition of newspapers to be delivered. Back in the day, there'd be several daily editions and nightly editions. You're waiting outside places like Times Square and reading the electronic lit-up crawl on the side of the buildings, and they're watching all three U.S. broadcast networks give this the 1962 equivalent of wall-to-wall coverage. Pokey little maps behind Walter Cronkite, with little paper ship counters occasionally being moved closer and closer to that line of quarantine. Even the president and his people were watching this coverage too, and everybody's sort of holding their breath. And it seems to me this is quite a bit different than something like Edward R. Murrow's famous live radio broadcast from London as the bombs are dropping on the city during the Blitz, because unless you lived in London, this didn't have a direct impact on your life. Whereas you could be in the heartland of the United States, or for that matter, the heartland of the Soviet Union, or for that matter, Central Europe, just about anywhere. And what you're watching here in real time may determine whether or not you wake up some morning this week, whether your children grow up and have a future. I mean, the stakes are hard to imagine. I mean, as H.W. Brands points out, he's writing a book about sort of political theory, but he points out how this changes the entire equation from anything we ever had in previous history. He writes, quote, "When people had labored toward distant goals in the pre-nuclear era, they could console themselves with the knowledge that though they might not live to see their objectives realized, their children or grandchildren might. If the goals were beyond human grasp, each succeeding generation could at least approach a bit closer than the one before. The invention of nuclear weapons changed the situation entirely. Now," he writes, "there existed a real possibility that the whole human experiment would be canceled midway. In that event, not even future generations, because there wouldn't be any, would know how things turned out. Under the nuclear cloud, the meaning of human existence grew murkier than ever." End quote. If we were still trying to, today, reach the standards of living that they had back then, because we were still working our way back up from the rubble of World War III, would any of the concerns that these people had, that to them were important, seem worth it? I mean, this is something that exposes a bunch of things where you could, if you were grading humankind on how well they were doing adapting to their weapons technology, you'd give them an F. They've overlooked basic fundamentals. For example, as this crisis unfolds and you just want to scream to the participants, do something, they can't even communicate in real time, one-on-one. John F. Kennedy can't talk to Khrushchev. When you think about all the time they had in the 1950s and the scares and the threat level rising, don't you think one of these people theorizing about what nuclear war would be like, what would every war would be like, don't you think somebody would have said, we have to have a hotline? We're going to want to talk to the opposite number if a crisis dynamic starts. But they didn't. In an era now where we can expect world leaders who were ratcheting up the tension toward nuclear war to be able to text each other, Khrushchev and Kennedy are communicating via letters, the diplomatic equivalent to snail mail. It'll take half a day from the time one side writes the letter, gets it hand delivered to the other side after a cabling. It has to be translated and then read. It's half a day. A lot can happen in a real-time crisis in half a day. As these Soviet ships approach the quarantine line for this big face-off, the U.S. Strategic Air Command's alert level is raised to DEFCON 2 for the first time ever, and if public assurances are to be believed, the only time since DEFCON 1 is all out nuclear. By the way, Soviet strategic arms expert Steven Saloka says
Well, what are your friends?
at the same time,
You got
Soviet
to tell us
strategic forces were
Ali and Kim. Well, I just read you. I met them in Turkey,
in many
and they were
theaters
super
around
nice.
the globe.
And I was
These two militaries, the two most powerful militaries in all world history, and their allies, rub each other militarily in the Arctic, in Europe, this is everywhere, Asia, over Japan. the potential for something bad to happen unintentionally
Please
skyrockets.
introduce myself. I'm a man about the
So do
place.
all the variables, by the way, as well. I mean, think about how much easier this whole
They
thing
did
must
it.
have
It was
been
really sweet of them to do,
for
and
a
I
guy like
saved it.
Kennedy before the
And they
world
knew
knew
I
about
saved it,
it.
and that meant a lot to me.
Now
When
every
I first
press
moved in, they
outlet
made me a
in
welcome.
every big city and small town in America, not to mention the rest of the world, has a headline related to the decisions you're currently considering right now. If you weren't feeling the pressure before, the media combined with public opinion combined with the political realities in democracies all over the Western world,
Given I went to like
from
super fun,
alternatives and cause
but I
all kinds of
don't.
problems. I mean, the stress level becomes so acute. It would be hard, I think, to find a moment in human history where human beings on such a wide platform, I mean, not one place at one time, but everywhere, have been under this kind of pressure. Just my opinion, but I mean, normally it's localized. If you're about to be taken over by the Mongols in your city, you feel every bit as worried, but it's just in your city. This is everybody holding a collective breath.
Okay, are you
You
done?
want a variable that would have been hard to model at the Rand Corporation 10 years before this time? How do you represent with a letter like X somebody like Fidel Castro? A fervent revolutionary who fully seems ready to die for the cause here if necessary. He's pretty gung-ho and he puts pressure on Khrushchev like the Allies on the West are putting pressure on Kennedy. He's a hard guy to be careful. If this was really a show about the Cuban Missile Crisis, we'd be talking a lot more about the Cubans. But it's more about controlling your weapons technology. And Khrushchev apparently has to tell Castro something very similar to what he told Mao years before, which is we didn't get into this struggle against imperialism just to die. As the line of Soviet ships apparently keeps moving toward the quarantine,
Rabbi?
the media has the countdown going. I mean, that's how tense this is. Everybody's biting their nails, including Kennedy and his advisors at the White House. As these ships approach the line, because what's going to happen? Confrontation at sea, and how quickly could that get out of control? Everybody's really worried. In his book, An Unfinished Life by John F. Kennedy, presidential biographer Robert quotes Robert Kennedy, the president's brother, was in the room with them, and they're all sitting there waiting for this crisis moment to occur.
What?
As the countdown continues, Robert Kennedy writes, the president's tension was reflected in his appearance and physical movements.
Quit sucking dick.
This was the moment which we hoped would never come, Bobby wrote later. Quote, the danger and concern that we all felt hung like a cloud over us all. These few minutes were the time of greatest worry by the president. His hand went up to his face and covered his mouth, and he closed his fist. His eyes were tense, almost gray, and we just stared at each other across the table. Was the world on the brink of a Holocaust? And had we done something wrong? I felt we were on the edge of a precipice, and it was as if there was no way off. And then Kennedy gets a couple of messages in relatively quick succession. It appears something's happening on the seas.
Sun-related.
Maybe the ships are slowing down. They're not sure, but maybe. And then maybe they're stopping. And then maybe some of them are even turning around. This is the moment where the air goes out of the room like a balloon. And Secretary of State Dean Rusk is supposed to have said, we had a game when I was growing up in Georgia where two people would have a staring contest. Eventually you lose when somebody has to blink, and he goes, well, the other guy just blinked. This moment will go down in history as the time the other guy just blinked. Kennedy faced down Khrushchev in this contest of wills, and at the last second,
Dude.
Khrushchev turned his ships around.
What the
I don't know that's not what happened, but the people at the time didn't. As Michael Dobbs points out in a great line, he said Khrushchev did indeed
Are you
blink, but
fucking
he blinked
serious?
30 hours before, and it took that long for Washington to see it.
You believe this shit?
Khrushchev had
Hurry the
actually made
fuck
the
up,
decision
goddammit,
not to
you little
challenge the
bitch.
quarantine with any ships carrying nuclear missiles or weapons pretty darn soon after Kennedy announced the quarantine. But he didn't make that public knowledge. He kept rattling sabers and threatening to run the blockade and push the envelope the entire time. All the while knowing he had no intention of running
What
that
in the
particular
fuck?
risk. Historians have long differed on how you should see this move by Khrushchev, not to
Jesus
openly
fucking
challenge the
Christ.
blockade, He'll still go through with ships that don't carry banned material in the U.S., and these ships will play a sort of a consensual dance of convenience to him. Now that
What
they've
in the
gotten over
fuck?
the crisis hook temporarily, having things get out of control again. But a lot of historians will say Russian humiliation for Khrushchev to have to back down like this, especially after he said publicly in the Kennedy letters, "I'm not backing down." And apparently, Khrushchev's military advisors are coming to see him similarly to how JFK's military advisors see Kennedy. Not a lot of respect on all sides. So that's playing into this. But there are other historians that will portray this more
Happy
like
link.
a counter move, very similar to the ones Kennedy has been making, the ones that say, "I'm not going to go to
fucking
war
A.
anymore, but so many of my active
Why is it
choices
so
would do
fucking
so.
hard?
I'm going to do more of a passive choice, right? I'm not going to invade Cuba.
God
I'm
damn
not
it,
going to
motherfucker.
launch attacks against the Cuban missile sites. I'm just going to throw up a quarantine. Your move, Mr. Khrushchev.
Oh my
Khrushchev
Christ.
says, I'm not going to challenge
Is it
the
a
blockade.
bookmark?
I'm going to pull those ships back, but I'm going to continue to work on actually redouble my efforts to speed up the work on the nuclear weapons and missiles that are already in Cuba. Your turn, Mr. Kennedy. Now we get to this point in the story where I can't help but think about the unquantifiable variable that is the human element again. Little things that would be so hard to model. You know, in the old
Okay, are you done
game
with doggy?
theories, things like sleep. And how do you quantify lack of sleep? These people are putting in 20-hour days now, every day. They're not eating well. I mean, John F. Kennedy's bad back is supposed to have troubled him so much at the Vienna summit that it may have influenced how things went. Okay, we're not talking about one person now. In this situation, we're talking about the collective frazzledness of everyone on all sides. Khrushchev isn't leaving his office. He's sleeping on his couch in his clothes day after day after day.
You almost took away my ability.
Think about the little things, too, that you wouldn't even
Did he?
consider.
Yeah,
Unless you
I don't
were in
blame
that
him.
situation. All these people that have not a single spare minute in their day
Like,
still have
that's
to wonder
the guy
about how am I
playing.
getting my family out of this
Really?
area.
Yeah, you almost.
My wife has 10,000 problems she's calling me about because she can't figure out how to get evacuated. But these people have all these worries that if it was just a single individual, even if it was the leader of a country, I would think, well, that's a variable the system could work around. But it's happening to everyone all at once, all at the same time. And you can't quantify, you can't say, in fact, that there's 20% more towards bad decisions, because how would you know? But you can reliably say that if you compare the performance of the system, all the individuals together, working, on day one, to how they're operating collectively by day 10, we're going to see a diminishment. How long can people in this situation go before you're starting to
Like,
make
isn't that a thing? Like, Gog and Magog?
more for fatigue
Magog,
and stress
Gog and
over
Magog?
more reasons than anything else again?
Gaga.
If you're the Rand Corporation trying to model how things
Gog
are
and
going to go in a
Magog.
real world
That's like that
situation,
fucking thing at the end of
what's the value you plug in for X for that? And
Oh
then
my
there's the
Christ.
ultimate variable in this
Are you
equation,
done?
the one everyone recognizes because it's so obvious. Two human beings who have the power and authority to unleash
My body doesn't even know what it's doing. My dick is.
things
What
go
time
wrong in
is
the near future, have the responsibility to unleash it. Kennedy and Khrushchev, how'd you like to be in their shoes? I mean, a sociopath might like the idea of having nuclear weapons and all that entails, but that's not the kind of thing most people look forward to having to use. It creates a huge amount of stress, as you might imagine. Anyone running for high office, especially in a place like the United States, has a sort of implied
Hey, Bimbo
promise that they
Kumquats.
can get the job done, and understanding that the job of being the president is going to require decisions on your part that will kill. It's unavoidable. And killing bad guys, for example, and terrorists and those sorts of things, there's a lot of people that can sleep very well at night, without on their resume, so no problem there. It becomes a different situation when you're thinking that maybe in the next week you're going to have to issue orders that would fry millions and millions of non-combatants and women and children and old people and even animals and poison the earth. I mean, there's a lot into these decisions. It's a lot for one human being to handle. It's a lot for the society to handle. But because, as we discussed earlier, this is not a power that was seen to be something that, because of the way the technology worked, could be a groupthink decision. It was something that had to be made by a single individual. But who can handle that power? I don't even mean in a
Now
non-trustworthy
you're
sense.
basically lying to
We're young
us.
people like some terrible tyrant of old, but more the stress level. And if you get lucky with the people that you have there at any particular time, what makes you think that over the long haul you're going to continue to be lucky? This is Bertrand
I'm
Russell's
king of BBC, I'm king of BWC, BWC.
Truman did it, Eisenhower did it for 2 terms, and now in 1962, at the end of the year, it is starting to look like the person walking across that tightrope is going to fall. How'd you like to be the person that had to push the button if that happens? And there's a part of me that likes to imagine that this is like the ultimate fail-safe mechanism in the system. Those last human beings who actually have to do the equivalent of pushing the button. Maybe at the last minute, they rebel, and they say, I won't do it, I won't destroy humankind, and it becomes the wonderful end of the movie where everyone goes, see, you thought we couldn't handle that, but at the last minute, humanity won out. A human version of that red button not connected to anything that Herman Cohen mentioned. The problem is most of these situations, by the time they get as far as you would have to get before people were thinking about pushing the button, are out of people's controls by that time. That's what the Barbara Tuchman World War I book is about. That's what begins to happen in this story too. Because after Khrushchev pulls the ships back from the quarantine and continues work on those missiles that are already on the island, they start writing letters to each other, Khrushchev and Kennedy. It actually starts on the 23rd, but they continue on, and they're fascinating. You can watch the tone change with the ebb and flow of the crisis. And as the stress level and alert statuses and progress towards an invasion of Cuba maybe ratchets up, you begin to see both these politicians trying to find a way out. Both of them are seeing their options constrained. Now the door to getting out of this mess is closing, and their ability to control the situation is slipping out of their hands, and they know it. By October 25th, the day after the non-face-off at the quarantine line, Khrushchev is getting all sorts of information that makes him think an invasion of Cuba is imminent. The President of the United States has this clock going off as the missiles are continually being worked on, and the pressure caused by that. Khrushchev's got his own clock. An invasion of Cuba is imminent. What are you going to do about that? And he knows something that not only does Kennedy not know, but no one in the West knew until the Soviet Union fell. When its records could be made available to historians in the early 1990s, Khrushchev knew that there were battlefield nuclear weapons operational on Cuba, put in place to destroy any landing. Imagine like the D-Day landings of the Second World War if the defenders had nukes. Now they're small, each one about the size, I've read 60% of the power of the Hiroshima bomb or something like that, but they have several of them. Imagine the carnage something like that would have created. Out of that problem and avoid World War III if it goes that route. So Khrushchev and Kennedy began the period in the Cuban Missile Crisis I like to call the haggling, holding a hand grenade period. Because both of these guys have to get a deal together before the forces driving them toward nuclear war become unstoppable. On October 26th, Kennedy receives a note from Khrushchev that seems to propose a way out of this crisis. Now, some historians have suggested this was a desperate note, nervously, but not everyone agrees with that. It's clear, though, that Khrushchev thinks that an invasion of Cuba is coming. He worries that the military has taken over from JFK, and so he offers a compromise on Cuba. He makes the case that the only reason the weapons were put in Cuba in the first place is to deter a U.S. invasion. He said, you've already invaded once. That was the Bay of Pigs. He says your CIA is constantly harassing and causing problems over there. That's called Operation Mongoose, and he's right about that. He says, if you will publicly proclaim that you won't support any more of that and you won't invade the island, we'll take the missiles out. Then he writes about the blockade and the ongoing crisis, and he says to Kennedy in famous language, quote, If you've done this as the first step toward unleashing war, well then, evidently nothing remains for us to do but to accept this challenge of yours. But if you've not lost command of yourself and realize clearly what this could lead to, then, Mr. President, you and I should not now pull on the ends of the rope in which you have tied a knot of war. Because the harder you and I pull, the tighter the knot will become. And a time may come when this knot is tied so tight that the person who tied it is no longer capable of untying it. And then the knot will have to be cut. What that would mean, I need not explain to you, because you yourself understand perfectly what dread forces our two countries possess. Therefore, he writes, if there is no intention of tightening this knot, thereby dooming the world to the catastrophe of thermonuclear war, let us not only relax the forces straining the ends of the rope, let us take measures for untying the knot. We are agreeable to this.
Last night is a big cycle.
So, in the early evening of October 26, 1962, the first ray of hope appears right before time runs out. Kennedy's military advisors do not trust Khrushchev. They think this is a ploy to gain more time, to get his missiles operational. Let's remember that Kennedy has misjudged the Soviets in the past, and these other people have been right. So if you're Kennedy, you must think to yourself, maybe I'm wrong again. At the same time, if we look at it in a certain way, Kennedy had just received a personal letter, an emotional letter, some people describe it, from the only other person who was actually in the same position he's in. You can be the closest advisor to the person who actually has to push the button, and it's not the same thing. Khrushchev understands what Kennedy's dealing with, and vice versa. Neither man, it looks like, wanted to have to do this. The only way to stop this is by going to the other person who also doesn't want to do this and say, what if I do this? Can we call this off? There must have been a certain mental sense of relief where Kennedy saw this. I mean, there's maybe not time. That's the problem. Kennedy's trying to get this done. Let's move it along. On the morning of October 27th, 1962, Saturday, October 27th, 1962.
Yeah, you got the orders of extra.
His advisors will get together to discuss that letter and ramifications. Can we get this deal done where we say we won't attack Cuba and they get the missiles out, these missiles that they haven't even publicly acknowledged are there?
Are you done? You just
And then
ripping all
everything
of it.
begins to go wrong, which is why they call this day Black Saturday.
Are you hungry?
Black Saturday starts with a press report that's handed to Kennedy in the morning as he's been discussing last night's letter from Khrushchev. This is a public statement by Khrushchev, like on the radio kind of thing, where he announces to the world the way out of the Cuban Missile Crisis and sort of acts like the olive branch peacemaker type.
Did you tag a lot of people?
But the way out is not the same deal he offered Kennedy the night before. His way out is a much more difficult deal for
TV
Kennedy.
tag becomes really
Khrushchev
big.
tells the world,
Really, yeah, we have to name a
we'll take
television
I
show.
don't think he said
Then you're on
missiles, they still
base.
haven't publicly acknowledged, but he
Yeah.
basically says
Freeze
the things
tag
that
becomes
everybody's having
really
a problem
big.
with will be removed from
All
Cuba.
kinds of tags.
If they pledge not to invade Cuba, and if they get their own missiles out of Turkey, which are as close to us as Cuba is to the United States. Boom. There's no better example of that old adage that the light at the end of the tunnel was instead an oncoming train. Because the bottom drops out of everything here. Because Kennedy can't do that. He certainly can't do that before the timeline for airstrikes or invasion runs out. The reasons why he can't do it, though, are the sorts of things that those people, like those scientists who would talk about, now that we have nuclear weapons, we have to have a one-world government, so you don't have multiple governments interacting with each other in these dynamics. This is what they're talking about, because Kennedy is fine with Khrushchev's public proposal. He had wanted to get these missiles that Khrushchev says you must remove these missiles from Turkey. He wanted them out before this crisis even happened. They're obsolete. They just cause trouble. He wanted them out. But now that Khrushchev has made it part of the deal, Kennedy can't accept it without looking weak, without looking like he's kind of willing to sell out the security of his European allies to buy him some security in the Americas, looking like he is rewarding This move by Khrushchev to place missiles 90 miles off the U.S. coast, a move he's been vilifying in the United Nations for more than a week. He's trapped by a geopolitical dynamic that the pharaohs of Egypt would have understood. The game is the same game it's always been. But the consequences of making a wrong move in the game now are exponentially greater than anyone's ever dealt with before. And that's what's changed everything. Kennedy's trapped because he's playing a new game by the old rules. But what does that keep you from being able to stop thermonuclear war from breaking out? Once again, every time you think you can't get any more pressure, right? How much can the people at the center of this story handle? All day long, you're going to get more. Well, the first briefings in the morning has the CIA telling the president we think those medium-range Elisa missiles sites are now operational in Cuba. Boom. Have you waited too long? Here's another piece of ammunition for the military hawks to use against you in arguments. And then, the militaries of both sides, having rubbed up against each other all over the world on high alert for days now, sparks start flying. I mean, a situation as combustible and explosive as the one you're already dealing with, this would appear to be fatal. There were naval incidents involving Soviet submarines that the U.S. Navy is chasing around Cuba. They don't know that those submarines have nuclear torpedoes, by the way. There's a huge reconnaissance plane up in the North Pole in the Arctic that gets off course and strays over Soviet airspace. Soviets send fighters to deal with it. The United States up in that territory up there sends fighters to deal with them with missiles armed with nuclear weapons. From Cuba, there will be a low-level reconnaissance flight of planes that is hit with anti-aircraft gunfire. More ominously, a U-2 flying over Cuba to keep tabs on those missiles that the U.S. absolutely has to do. He's shot down by a surface-to-air missile, a sand battery, and the pilot's killed. Now you have blood in the situation. Not just that, in order to sort of keep the military hawks at bay, several days ago, Kennedy had laid some lines in the sand saying, this is where we will act, don't worry. And one of the lines in the sand was, if they shoot down a U-2 plane with a surface-to-air missile, we will go take out those surface-to-air missiles. Now the military said, guess what just happened? What are you going to do about it? The president's brother, Robert, was at these meetings and with him in private talks all during this time would write that at this moment, the crisis was at this stage. He felt that, quote, the noose was tightening on all of us, on Americans, on mankind, and that the bridges to escape were crumbling. Bridges to escape were crumbling. Kennedy would say, in a couple of days, that at this point, there was a attack scheduled for Cuba to start with bombing raids, hundreds of them, except for Monday and Tuesday, Saturday. His own advisors can't make up their mind what to do in the current situation. So Kennedy will famously send his brother Robert as a back-channel negotiator. Without telling anyone, Robert would go in Washington, D.C. to the Soviet ambassador. He had gone to the Soviet ambassador a few days before during this crisis, but was his normal, combative, feisty self. This time, the Soviet ambassador is an entirely different man. He was in front of him, basically trying to explain the plight his brother was in. And I'm not sure, it's fair to say pleading, but there was a desperation in all this. There are many descriptions from different people of views. None of them are quite exactly the same. I like the one you should take with the most salt because it's from Khrushchev's own memoirs, quoting his ambassador, Brennan, who was having this conversation with Kennedy. Khrushchev writes, Robert Kennedy looked exhausted. One could see from his eyes that he had not slept for days. He himself said that he had not been home for 6 days and nights. The president is in a grave situation, Robert Kennedy said. They say, and he does not know how to get out of it. We are under very severe stress. In fact, we're under pressure from our military to use force against Cuba. Probably at this very moment, the president is sitting down to write a message to Chairman Khrushchev. We want to ask you, Mr. Dobrynin, to pass President Kennedy's message to Chairman Khrushchev through unofficial channels. President Kennedy implores Chairman Khrushchev to accept his offer and to take into consideration the peculiarities of the American system. Even though the president himself is very much against starting a war over Cuba, an irreversible chain of events could occur against his will. That is why the president is appealing directly to Chairman Khrushchev for his help in liquidating this conflict. If the situation continues much longer, the president is not sure that the military will not overthrow him and seize power. The American army could get out of control. The publisher of my 1970 copy printed in Boston had a footnote inserted right there to point out that this was obviously a misunderstanding that the Soviet leader had about the American system and how it worked. But truthfully, he wouldn't have had to have like a military takeover of the government to achieve basically what the Joint Chiefs wanted, which they were unanimously opposed to the president's approach on this. In order to get their way, if they had gone to the president's opposition in Congress, for example, and told them that they were unanimous, that he was, absolutely taking into the country to existential danger, if they leaked that to the U.S. media, it would be like a giant veto over the president's policy. Public opinion would have forced him into a different route. And if they had gone that route, it would have been simply because they and the experts unanimously talking amongst themselves had decided that the president had literally put the country in terrible danger. And by the way, while most histories portray Kennedy as this wise, sage guy that saved the world in the situation by pushing back against at times unanimous counter-opinion, there are other views. I mean, historian Gary Wills savages him, essentially accusing him of being the one who was responsible for this time bomb situation to begin with. So the fact that he got you out of it means little, since he's the one who set the bomb. And Wills points out that if you want to give anybody credit for this, give it to Khrushchev. He's the guy who wanted to suck up the humiliation here so that we don't have nuclear war and go home with his tail between his legs and not tell anybody that he actually got the missiles out of Turkey that were threatening my citizens. We can't even claim credit for that. Or hard-headed. Other historians will use that same rationale by saying, what you really mean to say is Khrushchev was completely outgunned, and at this time the U.S. military would have crushed him, especially in that part of the world. He had no choice but to back down. Regardless, it's hard not to look at the two individuals in this crisis, Khrushchev and Kennedy, and think regardless of the role they may have played in getting us to here, once they did, they took the most cautious route out. One of the historians I was reading in a great way of framing it, he had said, if this was a gaming scenario, you could run it 100 times. How many times would it turn out that you would have nuclear war? How many times would it turn out that maybe, forget about this, that if Kennedy had listened to his military advisors, Khrushchev would have backed down, an invasion of Cuba somehow would have happened, and the Cubans would have been freed, and Castro would have been gone, and all. I mean, there's a bunch of scenarios where it can go. But if you are going to the casino to put your bets on something, and the best case scenario is you could win a fortune, the worst case scenario is if that little ball on the roulette wheel lands on the wrong spot, my goons take you out in the back and shoot you in the head. Do you play that game? Or do you just play as cautiously as you can, saying, listen, I know this is not a strategy that's going to give me a win per se, but the worst case scenario is so bad, I'll be happy if I can just avoid that. When Khrushchev hears from his ambassador, basically that the U.S. government will get those missiles out of Turkey, but they'll do it quietly, but then you can have a deal, he's all over it, because he was thinking he wasn't going to get a deal that good anyway. He's a little bit worried about letting Kennedy know he accepts the deal before this Cuban invasion happens. That's how close we are here. So instead of spending a half day getting a letter to him, he goes right on radio Moscow and proclaims, we're accepting the deal. And he keeps quiet the part that needed to be kept quiet, right? The system that we have here of interaction between nation states requires that certain things be done in ways that help people save face and preserve their political opportunities and whatnot. Khrushchev understands this, accepts the terms, and from this moment on, the tension begins to drop. And Kennedy says just a couple of days later, he feels like a new man. I mean, I had airstrikes ready to begin Tuesday. They know how narrowly they dodged a bullet here. And worth noting, when he went a few days later, this according to biographer Robert Dallek, to congratulate and thank the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the heads of all the military entities of the country on their help during the crisis, they were mad. Admiral Anderson said to him that we've been had. The essential point was that this too is a stalling thing. Who the heck thinks the Soviets are going to get the missiles out of there even now? General LeMay from the Air Force called it the worst event in the country's history and said we should still invade Cuba. Defense Secretary Robert McNamara says this reaction on the part of the Joint Chiefs of Staff left Kennedy, quote, absolutely shocked, end quote, and, quote, stuttering in reply, end quote. In 13 months, Kennedy will be dead. And the vast majority of theories concerning his death, including the traditional lone gunman theory, all have very close connections to the island of Cuba. Khrushchev's loss of power that would be coming will also be connected to Cuba and his whole affair. Traditionally, the idea was that his counterparts in the Soviet leadership considered him to be a reckless gambler, but it's more complicated than that. Nonetheless, the only person who would stick around despite hundreds of assassination attempts for decades, he just died recently, it's Fidel Castro. If the histories are to be believed, out of the national leaders making decisions during the Cuban Missile Crisis, he was the most in favor of using nuclear weapons.
Anything else you want to post?
Castro's views would mellow with time, with the acquisition of more insider information about what was going on behind the scenes. But this Cuban Missile Crisis is the best case study that we've ever had of what it's like when the sword of Damocles begins to drop. 17 years after the debut of nuclear weapons, it was a nuclear near miss. There's a lot you can learn from that. American historian Mark J. Sherwin calls it the biggest non-event of the 20th century, which is interesting because we normally think of history in positive terms. This was done. That happened. But sometimes the most important things are the things you avoid. Let's quote. In a century replete with unspeakable disasters, the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962 came terrifyingly close to producing the greatest disaster of them all. Nuclear war, the final failure. The irony of this non-event is that averting it was the most important event of the 20th century. So it is necessary both to learn how and why the United States and the Soviet Union nudged each other to the edge of the nuclear abyss, and to understand how a suicidal plunge over it was avoided. End quote. The lessons of the Cuban Missile Crisis are controversial and argued about, and often depend on one's political viewpoint or what country you come from. It definitely scared the leaders of these countries. I mean, Kennedy and Khrushchev will both change their tune in a number of different ways. Kennedy will revive some ideas from the Eisenhower administration that never had a real kick in the pants to me. It was tough to get past a lot of other problems. Well, a nuclear scare can all of a sudden move mountains in front of you, and Kennedy and Khrushchev will start the process of a creation of a nuclear framework. Maybe you could call it humankind's attempt to adapt to their weapons technology, but frameworks for limitations on testing. Safeguards put in place to help ease the next crisis situation. A hotline, for example. The beginnings of an understanding that if you can, you should begin to put controls on these weapons so that they don't spread to everyone. You can begin talking about how to reduce the numbers of weapons. The two biggest owners having their stockpiles, the United States and the Soviet Union, on that last front, they failed for quite some time. That also is as a result of the Cuban Missile Crisis thanks to the Soviet Union. See, America, you got away with it this time, but you'll never get away with it again. The Soviets will race to produce enough intercontinental ballistic missiles so that they are never on the short end of that numerical disadvantage again. By the middle 1980s, the Soviet Union will have more than 40,000 weapons. The United States somewhere over 30,000, 17,000 plus nuclear weapons. And that's just the two biggest powers. And while adding a hotline is going to help the next time there's a crisis situation. One big safeguard that nobody can figure out how to implement is still a glaring problem. The fact that the responsibility for you still revolves around a single human
Where do you
being.
get that popcorn?
Ronald Reagan wrote after his presidency that was the big realization that he became president. That he and he alone controlled these weapons. And the amount of time he had to talk over decisions with people about using them was minuscule. He wrote, quote, "The decision to launch the weapons was mine alone to make. We had many contingency plans for responding to an imminent attack, but everything would happen so fast that I wondered how much planning or reason could be applied in such a crisis. The Russians sometimes kept submarines off our east coast with nuclear missiles that could turn the White House into a pile of radioactive rubble within 6 to 8 minutes. 6 minutes to decide how to respond to a blip on a radar scope and decide whether to unleash Armageddon? How could anyone apply reason in a time like that?" Reagan, along with every other American president since Eisenhower, has had a man following him as he went from place to place. The man carries a briefcase. Inside the briefcase is something nicknamed the football. It's the nuclear codes for launching a nuclear attack. In fact, I've read that the person with the football is downstairs from the president while the president sleeps. And they time him routinely and regularly to see how long it takes him to get from the bottom of the stairs up into the president's room so he can launch a nuclear attack if necessary. The number of nuclear accidents is in the dozens. Those are called broken arrows by the United States. The number of false alarms and near misses is scary. Since the Cuban Missile Crisis, there have been a couple particularly scary ones. Perhaps the scariest since the Cuban Missile Crisis, but that's an opinion question. Something known as the Norwegian rocket incident. It happened in 1995. That's 4 years after the Soviet Union fell. When a rocket launch caught the Soviet Union off guard, and their higher-ups put in front of Boris Yeltsin, the leader of Russia at the time, their version of the football, opened it up, and asked him about the nuclear launch codes. Those who remember Boris Yeltsin remember that he was known to enjoy happy hour from time to time. So maybe we can consider ourselves fortunate that either he hadn't enjoyed it yet when confronted with this decision, maybe he had, but he decided not to respond, prompting the unusual thought in my mind, did Boris Yeltsin just save the world in 1995? Followed by the scarier thought, how the hell is the Boris Yeltsin's hands at all?
Is it? Goddamn right it is.
Too
Goddamn
many
right.
people alive today. Boris Yeltsin in that era is an age ago. People don't think about nuclear war between the great powers very much anymore. In fact, they don't think about war between the great powers. And yet history would seem to indicate it's the key danger we should worry about. The only thing that could really kill 100 or 150 million people in the next couple of years is an asteroid hitting the planet or a nuclear war between the great powers. What's more likely? Well, it depends. There's a lot of people who argue that nuclear weapons have kept the peace since the Second World War. The reason we didn't have World War III is the fact that everybody realized what would happen if we did. There's a lot of argument about that, and I'm not going to go into that subject, but I would like to point out that there are tripwires everywhere. This idea that a nuclear war between the great powers is sort of a thing of the past ignores the fact that the geopolitical three-dimensional chessboard that is currently in use by the great powers' nuclear weapons are everywhere. In fact, just to name one potential flashpoint, and this doesn't involve any of it. Many other countries now that have nuclear weapons, but the United States is pledged to defend with nuclear weapons.
Been a question with an observant Judaism for a long time.
Any one of whom, if they're attacked,
Is the popcorn at a movie? Can you have popcorn?
in the crisis situation and the pressure and the lack of options, the John F. Kennedy
It's separate scope, but
history does not teach you what the right moves in those
they tend to make
circumstances
sure
are
the
because the
scenes are very
variables
clean,
always
but
change.
generally it's just popcorn and butter.
You will have far less control over the
By default,
situation
those are two pretty close
that
to
you
me.
will when you're looking at
Well,
it in a detached theoretical way. That's why
so all
the
movie
crisis, right? As I said, human beings are
they don't
suddenly
clean it like
to an
take
ongoing
that.
experiment
So
to see if they can adapt or evolve to handle their weapons technology.
but
So far,
the food,
a long way from the edge of this tightrope.
people would really appreciate their food.
These may not even be the most powerful
Oh,
weapons.
and stuff
You're
their
creative
budget
enough
is
to
like
invent,
triple. They'd be a lot more healthy.
and the systems we have in place still have human beings involved.
I'd be a lot more training in
Variables that
food.
makes it tough to
Stuff.
think that we can go another 100 years
Especially.
and have a human story
But are you done?
with the words and the mentality ever after. For hardcore history t-shirts or other merchandise, go to dancarlin.com to see all the gear.
No,
You think
wait,
the show
what?
you just heard is worth $1?
I
Dan
got
and
some
Ben
cum in
would
my
love to have
fucking
it.
urethra.
Go to dancarlin.com
Oh, yeah.
for information on how to donate to the
What's
show.
up, cut off cum? What you cum? Some of it goes out. It doesn't all get out, okay? Not my
Finds you
world.
get a piece of paper. Something to write.
Are you done?
Make a numerical list of
Oh,
all the things that you need
What?
to die
Have a
for.
leak out. Oh, garden hose.
How long is your list?
Always become good.
What's on
Like garden hoses? Wrapping up garden hose stuff?
This is kind of an exercise.
What else?
Run into these things
Stockings.
elsewhere.
Stockings.
So to clarify your priorities.
Bloody chicken.
Another one I've heard
What?
is the retro
Oh,
every now.
oh,
You can see how that
oh,
might
give up,
help you get a sense of,
oh,
gee, this is what I'd like to be someday.
Yeah.
Here's how far I am from that now. So it'll help you think about how
yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
No.
What would you be willing to die for question is a priority question. Helps you sort of figure
What was
out
your
what
favorite
those
area
important
code
things to me. If you think about lists like that, I mean, I think we probably all have pretty similar things, at least at the top of the list. When we meet loved ones beyond that list, right near the top. That would be willing to
Five
die
six
for
two
your
stuff.
children.
What, whatever. Good. 562.
I have to admit that's pretty common.
It was on the upswing, big time.
History.
Good.
Likely something on the list at the top of the possessions
323.
of one kind or another.
Like LA. I think
Land comes to mind right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
This farm's been in my family for 3 generations. I would give my life for it.
any others?
Number of conflicts that were land ownership based.
Yeah, there's one I can't think of which I can't think right now. What is it?
The kinds of possession you might think of as like money.
It's fucking.
How low down on your list though does it go before you get to things that are a little harder to get your
San
hands
Gabriel
on
Valley.
tangibly?
What is it? Does it start with a one?
Like freedom on
No.
your list.
2? No. 3? How do you know? Because those low ones are usually.
All throughout
I mean, 2 and 3 that way.
there are slogans
But like usually they're
Hampshire
like
State
really
motto,
old and shit that way.
"Live free or die."
3 went on.
Like revolutionary rants,
Okay.
and all
Is
these
it
other
5?
movements throughout history, and some form of give me liberty or give me death, live
5,
free or
6, 2,
die is on the list. I mean, people willing to give their own lives based on the idea that an unfree life isn't worth living. Willing to die for a concept, but a concept that means everything when you talk about your day-to-day life. And we should point out that freedom has always meant different things to different people, and has meant different things in different eras. The two big definitions you run into is the obvious one: freedom
What's
is
424?
my right to
That's like
personal
3 1
control,
in the 2
autonomy, and sovereignty.
760.
The other one, though, is a political sort of freedom that says as long as no outside people or power or state or entity is controlling my people, then we're free. We may live in a dictatorship, but it's our dictatorship, that kind of thing. Freedom involves freedom from outside control. Now, let me change the parameters of the question. What if instead of giving your own life and what you would be willing to die for, the new list is what would you be willing to lose everything for? By everything, I certainly mean your life. That's a given, but the lives of all your loved ones, one way or another, either through outright death, having them sold into a life of slavery, your kids sold into a life of slavery, and all your possessions taken, and all your stuff stolen, and your community devastated, and your culture mortally wounded. That's pretty much everything, isn't it?
Really?
What's worth that? Some of the greatest human tragedies on a personal and on a society-wide level throughout history have happened when some of the things on the list that
Why are
you
you
would
here?
be willing
Because
to
of
die
6
for
women.
become the cost of preserving
Hannibal?
other things on your list that you would be willing to
Alonzo?
die for.
Nicola? Federal Reserve? And
All the
one.
time in the 20th
Good.
century,
Yeah, are
look
you
at how
done?
many people, in order
My
to
question.
protect their society's freedom, sent their
You
own
come here for
children
the
off to
ultimate
die.
ones?
So this is part of the human
Really?
condition.
No, I feel like I could help with them. I get
Whether
for
we
those.
live through
They're-
near genocidal
I knew I was
conditions,
that cool moving out here.
most of us haven't had to deal with the kind of threat
Hey, Neon Dion. Coach
throughout
Prime.
history have had to deal with to everything. That General New Hampshire state motto, live free or die, was a revolutionary war
Virus.
general, for example. He wrote that phrase decades after the war.
I don't think it was a senator.
And
Man,
he
he was so
told
fast.
freedom and safety. Now, I have no doubt he would be willing to give his life
Here you
in
go.
service of
Question.
his brand new country during the Revolutionary War. But he could also take some comfort in the idea that he
What do
wasn't
you
going to
play?
have to give much more.
Cornerback.
I mean,
Kick returner.
the British were
Wide
not
receiver.
going
You
to
got
come
that one.
into
Ding.
the country and after they hanged him,
What is it?
execute his teenage sons,
Professional baseball career.
rape his wife and
That's
his
the other
children,
side.
send
I was
them
gonna
off
say,
to
take the other
slavery,
side.
burn down his house,
Yeah.
destroy his town, and stamp out his church. You weren't going to do that.
He played center field though.
That's
He's
a
so
different
fast.
kind of risk, isn't it? That's
He
genocide.
played for the Yankees. Yeah, but that's just
We
one
must
known.
deal with that.
When he played that, you
That's
remember?
speaking right now somewhere.
It's like that song, Elton John. I was too young to know you,
Genocide's
but I was just a kid. I would have liked to know Deion Sanders, but I was just a kid. Pinstripes wore off long before legend ever
victimized had absolutely no choice and no option. No one said to them, either do this or we're going to kill you.
No. You remember him as a.
A choice was never
Did he win a
offered.
World Series?
Sometimes, though,
He should have. Really?
choice A is you do this. Choice B is we committed genocide or a near genocide or an absolute crime against humanity by modern day standards against you.
Why the fuck don't they have his
For most of
fucking.
human history, that's
They
the
have all
choice
his
that
fucking
cities have.
football shit?
When enemy armies show up outside their walls,
No. What do you mean, no?
surrender before the siege weapons start
Did
being
he like
used.
leave him right before that?
And you can maybe go free, maybe carry some of your personal possessions with you, maybe not. But the deal is that as soon as the siege starts, in most of these cases, they can do whatever they wanted to you.
94?
Sometimes they might still let you go. Sometimes they might have a negotiation 3 weeks from now and say, okay, you want to stop it now? We'll make a deal. But oftentimes the deal
Dave Justice
was implicit in the historian
in 4 games in the world,
This
99
is
says
the
that
standard
533,
understanding
4 runs,
throughout
8 hits,
most
2
of
doubles, and 1 RBI.
pre-gunpowder
But playing with a
history
broke
into
opponent.
gunpowder
His
history.
batting average on base was his slugging percentage, total
You
base,
don't surrender
and
when
win
called upon, and the city
probability
goes under
added
siege.
each
You could have
led
an
the team
absolute
in
genocide, at least on the
Despite
citywide
Sanders was the
level
Braves' ultimate
afterwards.
loss to the
Everyone
Blue
will
Jays in
understand
6
that
games.
that's just how it
In
goes.
Game 3, he narrowly avoided being a
We're
victim
doing
or
that
the
to
only second triple play was
civilization equals much by the 18th century.
playing goal.
Which, of course, the
Wow, I'm just
British would
dancing.
consider
Unassisted triple
colonization
play.
5
Those
minutes
are
ago
amazing.
had been
Where the guy's like, the
subject
ball, he steps on the bag and like tags the guy. It's fucking amazing. Or it doesn't bounce. He catches on the fly, he touches the, it doesn't have to, it can be
savages
okay.
or barbarians.
He catches the ball, his fucking tags the guy,
Slur terms.
hits the bag, usually how it's
That's
done.
where off.
Is that the only way it can be done?
The
No,
history
you can
also
tag 3 guys.
is a term, a Latin term, bellum romano, which basically means
So he never won one?
intent, toe, or the legal definition I got from one place said bellum romanum is all out
No, and he
without
fucking left
restraint.
right
As the
before.
Romans practiced it against groups they considered to be barbarians. And let's understand, if the British Crown in 1775 were dealing with Native Americans, it might have been a very different situation. All of a sudden, you can treat them the way Rome treated barbarians.
One World Series appearance. He's the only athlete to play in both the Super Bowl and the World Series.
But oftentimes, with choices, unlike the Jews and the Gypsies in the
He's also the only athlete to suit up for 2
oftentimes the
sports
choice
teams in the
was
same day,
surrender
suiting
and
up for
accept
both the Atlanta
subjugation
Braves and the
without
Bucks. The
rebellion.
kid was a beast,
And
kid.
live.
Really?
Any of those other things.
Yeah, did you ever fucking see him play in college?
See everyone either killed or
Was he
self-destruct.
close to being
What passes for your city and your culture destroyed, and maybe your culture itself taken apart piece by
was
piece.
he good at playing
There's
golf?
something very strange, maybe.
I don't know how good golf for Deion Sanders. I bet he's pretty good.
But I
Pretty
see a
athletic,
certain
I bet.
romance.
Why? I mean, he's the only person to ever play a World Series and a Super Bowl.
Sometimes when you watch this story, that calamity.
Usually that side is like, they don't let asshole, lazy fucks do that.
Cheek and touch something deep in your soul. Those who are willing to say, yes, we know that you'll kill all of us or destroy our civilization if we don't subjugate ourselves to you. We're going to take the chance here and try to live free or die. No, I'm not the only one that sees the obvious entertainment value, the compelling nature of the extreme situation.
Fucking Coach Sanders with that fucking Louis Vuitton bag, that'd be a big thing. That fucking Louis Vuitton bag, I'd be wearing that fucking thing like a purse, bitch. I might fucking do this.
A recurring theme.
I don't know if I feel a phone in it.
Story turned into Braveheart. I try very hard not to do
Anyway,
that.
wait, how many Kansas suits can I fit? That's what I want to know, kid. That is what I want to know.
Over time,
How do you measure a clutch? I don't know. How many
the other problem
big
is
credit cards could I put in
these
it?
situations that we're talking about.
How many of those fucking mirrors? I have a mirror credit card. I'm not going to get it right now.
Any
But
portrayal or discussion of them
Are you
can't
done?
help but somehow
Yeah, sure.
minimize or trivialize or heighten in a different way for entertainment value. What the people were actually going through. I was
yeah,
trying to
dude,
myself.
it's really good for
Imagine if that
cocaine
list we mentioned a minute
and shit.
ago,
It's a mirror, though.
Imagine if
Really?
one
Yeah.
of those things was going to
What's it
happen
called?
to me in my crucial life here, where I'm in no danger of, say, having my culture wiped out. Can you imagine what that would mean?
But if I got it, that means it's.
No more iPhones, and they start destroying the Christian religion.
Well, it depends. Some of my shit is the best that you can get. But I would just tell you, shit like this little shit that I know I'd lose or break or something, it's the best of shit that you can get for the cheapest price. So, yeah, what, you're going to be a better mirror? You're going to reflect better? What do you want it to do? But there are some things that mirrors can do, like lights and shit. But I don't know. I like mirrors.
The story that I would like to use to highlight that has a very familiar
What does it mean? Mirror.
because we've seen this movie historically
What does that
speaking
do?
before.
When I burped and I smelled it, it smelled like eggs.
It's the story of
Nice.
power.
Are you done? What does that mean? Does that mean this is done?
Advantages
ViralRabbi.
dominate, take over, and colonize the land. of a tribal people, less sophisticated, politically speaking, tribal people, and to destroy broad elements of their culture as part of doing so. Obviously, over the last 500 or so years, we've seen this movie play out in the Americas with European colonization and conquest. We saw it play out in Africa too, same thing. The difference here is that the people, the tribal people, on the receiving end of European conquest and colonization are themselves European. This didn't happen a couple hundred years ago. This happened more than 2,000 years ago. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this story as opposed to any of the others with similar themes is because this is one of the times where you look at the odds and you say there's a halfway decent chance here of the people on the receiving
Yeah,
end
I can imagine being a
of
guy
the
that
European
would have to deal with
colonization
female
to
problems
fight
like
back
menstruation,
and win.
and oh my god, I couldn't imagine.
Native Americans, for example,
Really?
never had a
Those poor
chance,
things.
never a chance
I
ever.
very, very much feel sorry
If
for
for
them.
no other
I try to
reason, and there's a
empathize
lot
with
of
them. I
other
can't. I
reasons,
don't know
the
what it's
disease
like.
alone. If
I
you're about to have
my
a
heart goes out.
hemispheric civilizational conflict, between
I could tell them though, if
four
they've ever gotten a community violation, they could empathize with 1, 2, 3,
I saw
4,
an
5,
estimate that
6,
said
7.
98%.
Mentor 80 is
That's
nothing
got
like
to be
community
high, but let's
violation.
just
I'm
say
sure
85%
maybe it's too bad because you'd be able to like take a pill. There's a pill that they make now that you can menstruate twice a year.
There are a
Really?
bunch
Yeah.
of experts who have
And like totally,
tried to
you're
explain what
absolutely.
the
You don't want to have
situation must
children.
have been like in these tribes in the
That's the
center
way
of
to
the
do it.
Americas.
Why?
You know, there were
Because
still
then you don't
untouched
have all the
European
issues of
contact,
menstruation. You don't
but the
have to.
diseases managed to find
Then
them.
it's like a clean out
And we're
twice a year.
just like
You
shell-shocked,
take this pill around when the
traumatized
time changes. There
remnants
you go.
by the time
Or the equinoxes.
Europeans got to
Really?
the
Yeah.
interior of the
For
Americas.
Chevy
These tribes
equinox,
have
because my
basically
friend had
been
a
wiped
Chevy
out by
equinox.
disease. It's like
Whatever,
imagine
dude.
the
Are
bubonic
you
plague
done?
in
That
Europe,
made my
but
question
worse.
is, oh,
Middle
dude.
Ages.
So my friend was like, oh, yeah,
I've seen numbers that say that in say 1800 they were
you were like,
estimating
oh my
what
god,
the
done, and then we were all like,
tribal
okay, I'm on
population
this.
of
All right.
North America
All
was.
right,
Now,
hey,
not the
everybody,
North
all
America
right,
that
all right.
constituted the United States of America back then, because that was just a sliver compared to today, but the native population throughout, from the Pacific to the Atlantic, in what's now the United States. Some estimates are as low as 600,000 people. That's a pretty unfair fight right there, isn't it? Not just that, as we all know, that's not 600,000 people all smooshed into one state right next to the 13 colonies.
Rabbi Rothschild make you a trillionaire if you watch your 24/7 365 live stream.
Spread out in
You have to
small
watch it. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck does that even mean. You wrote it.
Divided and
Red.
which is what happened.
What the fuck does that
It
even
still
mean?
blows my
It is
mind
what
to
you want it
realize
to be.
how small the number of Native American warriors there are
It's
fighting
erotic.
against the
Keep
encroachment
going.
of manifest destiny
Really?
at any time.
Wow.
And how well they
You
did
there, big
based
cat.
on how small they were. I mean, do you know if you get 1,500 North American
Are you
Native
done?
American warriors
You're a
in one place at one time, that's a sizable
fucking
force.
remind me of that.
The highest estimates I've ever seen for the largest Native American force of warriors ever assembled is between 4,000 and 5,000 people. The Little Bighorn, a lot of people think that's the biggest battle. The largest numbers I've ever seen are just under 5,000. 5,000? When the Spanish conquistadors found the Aztec Empire, the Aztecs could raise tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of warriors.
Is that like what he did today?
Now, obviously, there are different state organizational systems
When are you
that
going to
plays
be able
into
to
the
long
story.
form cheat?
But at the same
Cheat
time, it's
long
also
form tweet.
first contact,
Long
basically.
form
The disease had not had
That's what I
time
mean.
to take hold.
Or like, oh dude,
Fast
oh
forward a
yeah,
couple
we
hundred
forgot about
years,
that. We tweeted
and all
about
of a
that
sudden you go
literally
from
like 10 days ago.
hundreds of thousands of
Long form
warriors,
from change
maybe,
the fucking
to
color of the
1,500
pin.
being a sizable
Yay for
force.
us. We
And
fired
how long it took the
50,000
US
people,
to deal with
rehired
that.
them, and then fucking fired them again.
Now, to be fair, it
Long
wasn't
form
like the
tweet
United States had
Twitter.
100,000 people against 1,500
Hey,
natives.
I'm the
The
chief
forces
twit.
of the
Well, listen
European
to it, shit. I'm the
powers
head
fighting
too.
in the
Get your shit
very
together.
small also.
Long
1,500
form
the
tweet.
U.S. forces
How do
fighting
you
these Native
Twitter for
American
Twitter?
tribes, half of which
Write
might
long
be
tweets
local
in Twitter.
militia. That was not
White
uncommon
rat
either.
tweet storm.
Even in the big wars like the American
Huh?
Revolution, the numbers are
I think
smaller than you
More
would
than
think.
140.
Again,
What is
25,000
this?
we
This
had
is all
done
so
in the American
old.
Revolution.
Whose is this? Brave?
So you wonder how the
Your
U.S. will go
search
on the
engine
British and French
sucked
explorers
more
around
shit that I'd ever fucking seen in my entire life. It's like so. I know these search results really well because I check them all the time. Your shit is so old. Here we go. Long
was on the
form
opposite side of the Mississippi to be run into by the Europeans at some point.
Twitter to expand. That one's old, and that was like 2 months ago, but you guys didn't even have that
Let's
one.
put ancient Gaul
Yeah, I mean, not from what I
on
saw
the western side
immediately.
of the Mississippi.
Long form, no, it's a fucking
You know
fire.
what Gaul is, right? Gaul is what the
Oh,
Romans
okay.
called an area about the size of Texas.
Must
The ancient
issues ultimately commit to hardcore Twitter. Okay, so he's like enslaving people. These fuckers since 2003.
part of this period. Northern Italy.
Twitter DMs likely to get end-to-end encryption. Twitter Blue returning must ultimately.
Kind of armies that they could put in the field.
What about
Let's just say, I'd
long-form
imagine
tweet
they're
text
pretty
sharing?
close to the kind of
Code
numbers
as a
that
week.
the Aztecs probably
So,
couldn't field.
is Twitter Blue a
40
thing?
or 50,000
Is Twitter Blue?
peoples,
I feel like
5 or 10,000 of which might be mounted.
that's a chargeback. You should be able to get your fucking money back. It says Twitter Blue will relaunch November 29th.
That are used to brushing
What in
aside
the
1,500 natives, maybe on a really bad day,
So
2,500
did you get your
natives
money
having
back
to
for
deal with
November?
40 or 50,000 of them
I
next
want
day.
my fucking money back from Mark Heshfeld. Give me back my Mark Heshford $8, you fucking cunt. Alright, are you done, Tracy? I really can't make out
The state organizational advantages of a place like the early United States before the British and the French. I have no doubt they would conquer this latter-day version of Gaul at some point. But I wonder if they could conquer it as quickly as Caesar did. And the real thing, 2,000 years before. And if they couldn't, what does that say? Well, rather than attribute it to
Dude, this Twitter Blue thing, or
failings or
whatever the
shortcomings
fuck this was,
of the
is it called Twitter
European
Blue?
or American forces in North America,
No.
maybe
All
it's
this
as
sucks.
incredibly
Whatever this
awesome
was,
Julius Caesar was.
Is that going?
Awesome
Where's this
doesn't
thing?
mean good.
Is it a thing? What are you saying? What
Up
are
until
these words?
relatively
I understand
recently,
words.
what he
Okay,
did
235. Now I'm ramen.
in Gaul was celebrated. And in fact, going back
235.
100
Done
or 200
or
years, the era where
frozen, or is it
great powers,
236 now?
especially the great powers of Europe, were
It better be
celebrating the
236.
idea of
And
doing
if it's not,
exactly
what
what
are you gonna do
Julius
about it?
Caesar and the
Fucking
Romans
as a
were doing
billionaire
to
and
the
yell
tribal
at him?
peoples north of
You do that all
them.
the time.
In their own
You see
era,
nowhere.
they
Are
tended
you
to
fucking
see
done?
Caesar as the good guy.
Oh Christ.
The story
Oh,
I want
this
to talk
looks
about
dick.
today
Really?
is narrated
Oh
by
fuck.
Julius Caesar.
Is it refresh
It's a
here?
little like hearing the Star
Okay.
Wars saga
235.
was
Oh
told
shit.
by Darth Vader, and it is
I also
designed
changing.
to have the audience
God damn
cheer
it.
when the plucky little republics are crushed.
235. Okay, wait. I like this part. This is what they tell me I get banned. Right? Yeah, I'm excited
Beginning
for it.
to my recent
Right, yeah, they
translation
always
of
are like,
Caesar's war
I always know at this point, I go and it's like, there's something went wrong. And then it's like, you've been suspended. Really? I know it really well. If that's exactly what happens. It might not. There's like 50 What else could it be? Actually, that's usually always what it is. I don't know what else really, unless there's just a glitch.
Because the views of the audience are different than they used to be, she writes, quote,
I like this.
a new translation of the Gallic War does call for some explanation, not least because a number of versions are already available. Yet each generation needs its own translation of any classic text. The culture and mores of the translator's own time are bound to leave their mark. Besides, the subject matter of the Gallic War is potentially distasteful, even immoral for the modern reader. The drive to increase territorial holdings, high civilian as well as military casualties,
So
and
what?
the predominance of economic motives for
It's
organized
done?
aggression. All these belong to an acceptable norm of international activity in the ancient
Did you send it?
and hence need careful introduction and explanation,
Or did they
as
mute
well as
you?
up-to-date translation. End quote. Of course, what she's basically saying is that once upon a time, this was written for an audience who was expected to cheer what was going on. Nowadays,
Dude, did you get banned on your fucking...
but notice that in the process of achieving these glorious and almost impossible military victories, Julius Caesar
Are you done though? That would be my question. Like there are people in this world who've been done with shit. You are not one of them. God damn it! Something biting me on the hand.
Mary Cunliffe says, if you take the low numbers of the entire population of Gaul, that means Caesar killed a third of the population.
Are you done?
Enslaved another third.
Oh my god. Did you just at motherfuckers like a bitch? I don't think it does.
In the Americas, the disease did most of the damage in
My
terms of
fucking ear has so much
death rate.
ear hair. I could literally braid it. Braid my own ear hair. So long.
Caesar did.
Like an old man, like in that fucking
Even as I say that, I can hear sort of
Family Guy with the fucking guy that he has elves in his fucking ear.
projections of the ancient
I'm like that guy.
from the grave of
Oh,
the way
like
they
Peter
were
Griffin?
framing
Yeah,
this
that's
whole
fucking
thing, comparing Roman efforts against the Celtic peoples north of them to the Holocaust in the Second World War would be an insult to Roman honor.
My parents met on Gem Play. Oh, the
Nonetheless,
dad.
they would say that to suggest that doing what Caesar did to the Gauls is the same as what happened to the Jews and the Gypsies and the Jehovah's Witnesses and the gay folks and all the other people persecuted in the Holocaust, Roman Catholic priests, Polish folks. Those are like lambs, innocent, led to the slaughter.
But seriously,
Caesar did. He did
That's
to
so funny.
people that were like lions.
He said
Dangerous
something like that.
lions that
Really?
had attacked
Yeah.
before and
Are
might
you
do so
done?
again. If you are forced as a state or people or what have you to commit genocide in order to protect yourself, is that sort of a get out of jail free card in any sort of genocidal court situation? I mean, in a judgment call, would you say, well, listen, they had to do it, anybody would have done it? At the same time, of course, what Caesar was suggesting, and we'll get to that in a minute, was that they needed a preemptive war
I did
because
that.
these lions could attack at any time. So it gets murky quickly. But there's no denying
Fucking crap.
that these Celtic peoples all over Europe were dangerous. They are Vikings 1,000 years before there are Vikings. And I don't mean
This
it in
isn't
a
totally Michael.
pirate-like
You
sense.
didn't
I
read
mean
about
it in a
Punch.
European barbarian stereotype sense.
You know you're not.
The Vikings are like version 3.4
When?
or something because
Do you know
the
you're
Celts
not?
are the alpha version of the European,
Oh, yeah.
Northern European.
Maybe you could just get one of these fuckers' numbers
They exhibit all the typical traits.
and just call them. Just find one. I bet if you fucking tried
Crazy
to,
in battle,
you could get one.
supposedly, and they fight with enormous amounts of like ferocity.
Okay, so influential
Geographer
telephone number.
Strabo said that they are war mad. Ancient sources also point out that the Celts are headhunters, which is always a little bit unnerving. Ancient peoples are always more comfortable in head shopping than we are in the modern world. But in the more settled societies,
like,
when it was
who's the
done, it
thing?
was sort of
Who's
They
that guy?
didn't enjoy it, they didn't revel in it, they didn't take pride in it. It wasn't something you showed off to visitors. But in the Celtic world, according to the ancient
Like
sources,
S sniper telephone number?
this was something that was done. Posidonius says he's
Some guy
visiting
is so
Celtic homes and they
fucking
want to
creepy
bring
about
out the
this.
heads
Yeah,
of
you.
slain
I remember
enemies,
it's like, yeah, you.
that they've kept
I
in
know.
a chest,
Why?
you know,
I don't know
so
this fucking
well,
bitch's
so
name,
everything
man.
stays nice and pristine.
Oh my god, it's in there. It's so fucking easy to find.
They have found, by the way, the
You just gonna
archaeology
call it?
has shown that there are these, for example,
Damn,
pillars
dude,
that
you
they
just fucking.
find with little cubby holes with
What up?
skulls
Huh?
still in some of them, by the way, and little hangers
Hey, what up,
to
S Sniper
affix the
Wolf?
skull to the back
Can
of
I
these
text
things.
you,
I mean,
maybe?
religious then, but to the subtle people, cutting the heads off people,
Now I got shaped by the call.
and adorning your temples and whatnot with heads, that's just freaky.
It's not serious. Oh,
It
fuck.
was even then.
Hey, what up, baby?
Posidonius says you could get used
See,
to it
that's
after
how I
a
got
while.
rejected right
Never
away.
quite got comfortable
Why?
with people
Instead of me
treating
being
human
like,
heads the way some people treat, the
is
antlers
she
of
out
that
here?
deer they shot last fall.
She got 310, baby.
Put it up on the wall.
Really?
Now
I don't know. Somebody knows that fucking name.
Always keep that
She's like,
story in
hello?
mind.
There's no way this fucking bitch fucking picks up.
I should also point out that besides the religious significance of the heads, Caesar says that the Gauls believed in the theory of reincarnation. So to
What
maybe
is
you could call it, it
bullshit?
was similar to what a major philosophical group in Greece always. The Gauls kind of believed that when
Name's
you die
Alia
in this world,
Shillish?
you're just
Hi,
born into the other
fuck.
one, and then when you die in the other one,
Really?
you're just born back
I
into
wanna
this one. I think I understood that correctly. Caesar
kiss her
says that
mouth.
this is part of the reason why
Really?
they're so fearless in battle. Because instead of being worried about having your existence snuffed out, you're just, in oblivion, you're just going to be born in the next world.
Google Voice becomes a thing.
Just to
Right,
avoid
yeah.
confusion,
So
by the
what?
way, because it can be very confusing.
Seven guys.
The terms Gaul and Celt are
You
used by
fuck
the
guys
ancient
and
sources in a way where it's impossible not to get everything confused. Archaeologists John Collins has a rundown of the various ways you can interpret this. The most common ways the way we're going to do it. We're going to assume that when we say Celt, we mean Celtic people across the width and breadth of areas that have Celtic language and culture. If we say Gauls, we specifically mean the Celts in ancient Gaul, modern day France, etc., etc. They are, like all these northwestern European barbarian types, white. They are strong. They are tall, especially to all the peoples writing in the Mediterranean. They always look tall. They might have only been like I could go back in a time machine, but if that's 5 or 6 inches taller than your average Mediterranean type, it's still like fighting giants in battle, isn't it?
Calm.
And that's what made
Where the
fighting
fuck
these
is the
Celtic
number?
peoples